MVI 606s, and we'll use 4 of those little B2 1202s. So we're actually going to use all the amplified channels. We're just going to bridge out all of them. So it'll have 6, bridge channels running like the tweeters, the 3-inch, and those big horn tweeters that are under the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have one of those 1202s running each door.
Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Okay, I'm trying something.
It's weird. But yeah, so we're doing that and building a new little amp rack for back there, adding or kind of restructuring and making it a little more aesthetically pleasing on the back wall. We had it like, we kind of body filled it. We had some wood panels, and then we sprayed it with some bed liner. It looked pretty good, but it had like some cracks and shit that looked a little fucky. So we tore that all out. We're doing more reinforcing of the back wall to kind of keep that a little more stable because it was still getting some flex and resonance back there. So we're reinforcing that more, and we're going to make an upholstered panel that goes on with magnets that should look really pretty. So,
did you say you're going to use one of the JL amps?
2.
You're going to use them as a DSP like we are?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No. I'm actually going to use the amplified channels.
Right, but are you also?
Oh yes.
Doing
the output channels are still going to be used, and they're going to control the 4 B2 amps that'll run each door, and so yeah, should be pretty awesome.
Is he eventually going to be swapping out to Gately amps?
No, because we would have to refab all those amp racks. It's like he's got them all, and if we were to switch to Gately amps in the Raiden, they wouldn't easily fit. They're much larger. They're way bigger. So we'd have to like build an all new everything. So, but we're gonna use all Gately amps in the new build. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's not going to be Showdown ready, is it?
No, that one won't. But we will have the Raiden at the Showdown.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll be bringing the Raiden, the Soulgasm, the Monkey Box, and possibly Slamhalen, because one of the local guys. I actually need to talk to Glenn about it, but Jerry Eastman might be available to tow the Slamhalen down. So it's like, fuck it. Let's bring it. Yeah. So
speaking of Slamhalen, I got that material in this morning. Like Amazon dropped off like 5 in the morning. So it's been I put it in the dryer, and that's actually what I'm going to work on tonight is making some adjustments to that piece, and then I'm going to do a test print tonight.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I had Amazon drop off something at like 11:15 a little while before Christmas. Had me like creeping down my stairs, like it was all bung bung. Somebody's at the fucking, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Hustle down the stairs and like peeking out the fucking thing, like see the Amazon guy walk away, and I'm like, "That's pretty late to be creeping around, man. Not really. Like, you may not be safe everywhere." Creeping up on people's doorsteps, fucking once you start getting to midnight at least, like then I'd be really. If it was midnight, I'd have been like out there with my shit. What are you doing?
That guy might have not been a real fucking Amazon guy.
What's that?
He might not have been a real Amazon driver, just stealing people's packages and shit.
Well, I mean, the guy was putting shit there. You know what I mean? Like he put the shit on my porch. Like I opened the door and there was a thing there that was for sure not there earlier. I was like, God damn, like. I've been asked Buddy because Buddy delivers Amazon now. I'd be like, do you be fucking creeping on people's porch at fucking 11 o'clock? Buddy probably be like, fuck no. Like he's like, I don't do that shit. That'd be dumb. Yeah. So, but
telling me, bud.
I don't know if Sky High stopped carrying B2. Bobby might.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the status is, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty much all done.
I know.
Gotcha. Speaking of the Showdown, I went out yesterday for a site visit. Check out the space they're giving us, the renovations of the hotel and all that stuff. And dude, the hotel casino looks really good. I'm super happy about that. It's at Buffalo Bills, not Whiskey Pete's. Remember Whiskey Pete's? It seemed like there was What are you doing, Drew?
Don't worry about it.
You're retarded.
There was a lot of open space at Whiskey Peas, but Buffalo Bills is nice and new carpet, new flooring, a lot of new stuff going on. And they also have a concert that night. Some R&B chick. I have to remember her name. But so all like the venues are going to be open that weekend. All the restaurants, the table games, basically everything will be open and running. So we should have a fully staffed venue, which is nice.
You know, even last year, that location, I know that we're across the fucking road in the other area, but man, that was fucking great. I really liked that location. And for the small group of us that went and partied on Saturday night, we had a fucking good time. What there was like 7 of us.
There wasn't many. Yeah, but
we were hammered, and we ate a hot dog, a fucking 2 a.m. hot dog. He's like, "Give me a bite of that." I'm like, well, if you bite the other end of it.
I'll show you what the lot's gonna look like. So, I don't know if you've seen the back lot out there, but it's humongous. I mean, this little spot, it looks like a little spot that we have, but it's not little. And I could take more if I need it, but it's 525 feet by like 550 feet, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
and where's like the off-road racetrack? Is it like up?
It's right here.
So right next to that.
See where it says Motorsports Complex?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
That's the racetrack right above us.
Okay.
So there'll be trailer parking up there. I got one more that's like zoomed in. But there'll be the car show portion's probably gonna have about 100 cars in it. I'm hoping to have about 150 to 200 demo cars, and then comp lanes. Obviously, you can see how big this is. These little spots are 150-foot lanes. So give me an idea how big the area is.
Yeah.
But
that should be fucking awesome.
It's going to be great. It is going to be good. Now we just got to hope the weather holds out for us. Knock on wood. And we'll be fucking dialed. Getting the subs in.
Gizmo, Drew. That's the interface gizmo for the Slam Halen. We should have those upgrades. We're gonna put some more tweeters and more mids in the Slam Halen, and we're gonna switch. We're gonna take the fucking fix out because the fix lost its tune again, and we blew
fix.
Yep, the fix loses its tune in the Slam Halen sometimes. This time it did it like it was functioning, it was fine, and he parked it. And a fucking week and a half later, he turned it on, and like the whole front speakers work. It does the same thing every time it loses the tune. The fucking.
You mean VXI or
the fix? Not the fix. The tweak. The tweak. Sorry, man. I've been up.
I was like, oh no, I know how it is. That's why I was like, hold on.
Yeah, the tweak. The tweak loses its tune. I don't know why, but it fucking does, and it's done it. It's done it 3 times. Total, but 3 times is enough for Glenn to be like, can we do something better? And I was like, yeah, as a matter of fact, we can. And he said, let's do it. And it was like, well, I'd also like to add like some A-pillars or dash pillar pods to this and put some 3-inch and some tweeters in here to raise the soundstage up and make it a little brighter and more fun. So
what is that, Drew? Is that one of the plug boxes?
Yep. Okay. That's the interface RCA gizmo.
Yeah, this is the you can't see the name of the file, but it's the not fucked file. This is the one that I can't edit, that I copy pasted out of this to make new ones.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because like especially like trying to do some of the stuff I do with 3D printing, you can really break the model, but you can't, and it's really hard to fix sometimes. So I keep a known good one.
Steve, okay, you're petting the dog, right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Just making sure. It looked a little sus.
I was going to ask Jeff if he has any insight into why the Slam Halen was doing that, since he's the JL guy. You have any idea?
We're all fucking JL guys now.
Yeah, but he's the JL.
We're all fucking JL guys now. Yeah.
I mean, could it be losing like a little bit of power or something?
What's that?
I mean, what voltage is this running at? Anything crazy?
Like 13.8. No, he's not high voltage or anything. It might be spiking because I've seen that. You know, when the alternator like fucking like wakes up and it's like, oh shit, I need to do something. And it's like, and then the regulator gets its shit together. That's what my Ford stock alternator would spike in the weirdest fucking way, and it would create 19 volts for a very brief second on like startup, bam, and it would go 19 volts. And my Rockford DSR1 would go into like a weird protect, and I looked at the lights and I contacted their tech support, and they were like, that's high voltage. I'm all, dude, I got a fucking AGM battery. I got a 1200 watt amp in here. Like, this shouldn't be doing this shit. This is weird. And then I put fucking, you know, my fluke meter in there and set it to max hold. Bam, fucking 19.1 when the alternator fucking kicked. And I'm like, my alternator's a little fucked up. So I ordered one from Mike Singer, and then that issue went away. So his alt could be fucking around. I suppose. But I don't know. It did it, and it might have been a voltage drop thing at Slamology. You know, it had been playing for, you know, the better part of 3 days, because we pulled it out on Friday and we gave demos for fucking 4 hours on Friday, and then all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and like mid-afternoon it it like was fucking up the head unit. And so when the head unit fucked up, when it came back all to life, nothing from the front stage, and it was like weird flat fucked up signal from just the rear, and it had like some weird not the tune fucking tune going in that thing. And we changed it around, we relocated it, we fucking did things, and we were like, fuck, that sucked. And then it had done it again to us here. And I can't remember what they had decided caused that. And then it did it to Glenn, and Glenn was like, can we make it better? And I was like, yeah, we fucking can. And he's like, cool, let's just do the damn thing. So MVI it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I got that filament drying, and that new dryer that's causing a horrible issue in the shop. I still don't know what it is, but it's I managed it. So that filament dryer that I got, that new one, when I plug it in, it causes all the lights and all the LED lights in the roof to start flickering. I'm like, okay, maybe it's drawing a lot of current. Okay, so I plugged it in to a different circuit, still did it. Okay, so I plugged it into a separate, completely separated circuit, still did it. All right. So I have two main feeds into the shop. The 110, and then I have a 220 50 amp feed. I plugged it into the 220 50 amp feed that we have broke down into two 110s, and it still did it.
I wonder if it's putting out some sort of.
It's got to be putting something out. I
can't harmonic, like electro.
It's gonna give you testicular cancer.
Yeah, put a cage around it. See what happens.
So put your balls in it. See if they get all big like in South Park.
There we go. So yeah.
And next time we see you, you're gonna be 5 inches taller. You'll be fucking 7 foot tall.
Yeah, I'm 7 foot tall. So anyway, the filament's in there drying.
Beard's all falling out and shit. He's all,
oh god,
I don't feel good.
Yeah,
but John Nolte's probably gonna break down in great detail exactly what's happening in the electrical system of your garage when you plug that fucking thing in. Like, well, just wait. He'd probably give you a paragraph in a second and be like, and this is how you make sure that it doesn't do that anymore. Or if you look at it with this, you'll see this shit happening, and he'll probably be fucking right. In my experience, I'm like, hey John, this weird shit happened. He's like, that's caused by all this shit. And I'm like, what? And he tell you a bunch of shit. I'm like, how do you know that shit? And then you look and you're like, he's right. And I have no idea how he knows. He's
like, here's the real question. Why don't you know it?
Why? Yeah. What is wrong?
Thanks.
Like, I'm dumb. That's why I don't know. I'm just good at memorizing shit people smarter than me said to me.
I mean, that's what I'm
really good at. Like, naturally, I'm pretty
What
dumb.
are you good at, Jeffrey?
I'm also good at learning from things I fuck up.
I'll take an inline filter. Other than the weird flickering thing, that this little unit's pretty badass. Like it holds Phillips rolls at once gets to 70 degrees Celsius.
Does it use radiation to do it?
It must be just gamma rays. And
It's like they fucking broke a chunk off the elephant's foot and threw it in that thing, and they're like, and when you put power to it, whoa, it makes a fucking toasty.
Good luck, bitches.
Works so good. The filament's like dry and soft and supple, and all filament becomes glow in the dark.
That's it. Look at that white.
It looks like a tape, like a cassette.
Kinda, yeah.
It does look like a cassette.
Or like
You guys seen the new
thing.
bump boxes that look like a fucking cassette tape? It's kind of cool looking. They look really fucking cool, and I bet they sell like a motherfucker. And the owner of Bump Box was telling me he was going to do that. He's like, I'm going to do that in like 3 years. And I was like, why are you going to wait that long? He's like, that's an ace in the hole, buddy. He was like, I'm going to wait till sales slow the fuck down on all these other things I do, and then that's going to come out, bam, and then I'm going to make a bunch more money. I was like, you're a really smart person.
So, John, how is it?
I have a good idea. I do it right fucking now, and I fuck up everything else that I have. Yeah.
How is that? So, if I plug it into like two separate, completely isolated circuits, how are they?
They're not though. They're not isolated. They all run back to the fucking panel. They're still connected right there.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean, even if you connected to your neighbors, you're still fucking connected to the pole. You know what I mean? So everybody's connected.
So what you're saying is,
it's got radiation.
No, it'd be all right. Oh well.
No, so they really aren't. They're not connected, but they don't need to be connected. It's like a field effect that's fucking running into the ground.
Or they really aren't separate. I don't know what he's saying.
No, they're not separate. They're not fucking separate. Their shit is connected. You take a fucking meter and you connect it to the neutral on this motherfucker and the neutral on that motherfucker, even if they're completely separate circuits, and you're like, that's connected. Yeah, you need to isolate. So yes.
I don't have one of those, so damn. I guess let me call Patrick.
Just be better, Drew.
I'm trying.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do.
I mean, I think I've already upset so there's like a amplifiers as measurement like community, and I think I've upset all of them by measuring things at half power. I think they're pretty upset about it.
Yeah,
they're like, that's not a standard. Okay,
it's my standard, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes way more sense to measure something where you're going to use it. Like, why would I measure a 6,000 watt amp at 5 watts? What am I do that for? I think they're just mad they can't measure that power.
That circles back to the shit that I talk about all the time about people modeling subwoofers with 1 watt of energy fucking in their boxes.
Yep. It's the same. Yes. So I think part of it is that they just can't measure like that high power because they're using like cheap like audio interfaces like designed to take microphone inputs, not to take power. And then powering these big amps for extended periods of time, also not easy. Mm-hmm. But someone told me that no electrical engineer at any respectable audio company will ever take me seriously making these measurements. As I'm on video call with Nick from JL, I was like, oh, damn it, Nick, I gotta hang up, bud. You don't take me seriously no more.
Yeah.
No respectable electrical engineer. I'm like,
who do you think taught me how to measure this stuff? I didn't teach myself.
Yeah, I was there when you were learning that, and I was there fucking zooming over my head, and I was like, "You guys are smart. I like you."
Well, my whole head was hurting. My whole head was hurting.
Oh yeah, we walked away, and I was like, "You guys gave me a headache," and you were like, "Yeah, me too." And I was like, "All right." But Nick was having fun because for the most part, you were picking up what he was putting down, and I was catching a little bit of it. So he started fucking just like you get that guy going, and you'll fucking get real sleepy real fast. You get like, oh no. It reminds I've talked about this before, but do you guys Did you guys see the movie Johnny Mnemonic? It was a
Look who it is.
was the fucking guy,
What's up, man?
the dude from the Matrix. What the fuck is his
Keanu
name?
Reeves?
Yeah, Keanu Reeves movie, and it's like from the late 90s. And in the future, people have like hard drives built into their fucking head, and he has a big one, and he smuggles data in his head. This is gonna be a real fucking thing.
I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah, and while they're he like bites down on this fucking thing and he holds onto his head and all the fucking data's piling in and it's like you're seeing it zoom by him. That's what I feel like when guys like Nick are talking. I think John Nolte's done that to me a couple times and Jacob Fuller for sure has had me. I'm like like overload, like my ears are gonna start like leaking blood out and my eyes are gonna fucking pop out of my head. Yeah.
So Jeffrey, what's up? What are you wearing on your head? What's that say?
Total Tuning.
What is that?
That is currently the only remote tuning company in the United States right now that I know of. Fully remote tunes done by me, only me, and basically with a lot of practice, I was able to nail down the process and get it to where you can get some really, really stellar results even without hearing it in person. If it turns out if you look at enough max data, you can, make it sound just like if you were there, basically. So I kind of reverse engineered it.
Using a max or using a UMM6? What you using?
No, it's all JL Maxes. So basically,
everyone's got one.
No. So good question. So no, it's where I send maxes directly to your door. So I now have 5 maxes available to me, and more are probably on the way. Basically, the maxes will result in a $0 rental after it's all said and done. I've got some rental agreements and deposits and things, but after it's returned back to me and it's not damaged, right? I'll return all that deposit money back to you. So basically the goal is to get really, really high quality tunes to anyone in the lower 48 states. And if they don't have the proper measuring equipment, great, I'll send it to you. Do you need a computer? Do you need cables? Do you need a max? Do you need a secondary screen? I got spare secondary screens too. I'll ship you anything you need. So,
do you have any like authorized dealers that can help you provide those services, Jeff?
Funny enough,
that's funny you would ask that. Actually,
it's really funny that you would mention that, Bobby.
I didn't say anything either.
Currently, there's 2 shops in the United States that are partnering with me on that, and hopefully more. One is Gately Audio. He's actually the first tune that I've done through a partner, not using my own max. I also do a little bit of work for Colorado Car
That's
Audio.
actually I'm gonna cut you off, but that's actually, I think that might be the ticket, because then you don't have to send a max out. They can just show up there, but leave with a good tune.
Well, so myself and Tyson, we went to the same training class as Jeff, which was cool because we got a little bit of knowledge from Jeff there. But Jeff is the fucking man, and if we can learn anything from him in that, so we got paid a little bit, which was really cool for Tyson because he came in and got like the most of a day of overtime for him. We got paid a little bit to learn from Jeff his whole tuning sequence and how to do it. So immediately the next tunes Tyson was doing, he was doing them a little bit more quickly, smoothly, and efficiently, a little more enjoyable process for him. And his end results were just a little better. And it was really cool. And he was explaining to me, some of the things that he did and learned from Jeff. And it was fucking awesome. So the potential for dealers, as long as they don't have some ego that's like, I can fucking do it myself. Like there's so much there for people to learn. Let's get this camera or something. That it's really awesome. So if we do another one, or if I'm offering to do a really high end, if we do a big badass build, we'll be, we're gonna tune your DSP. Be like, hey, are you interested in having Jeff Hall, who is multiple Triple Crown champion total tuning DSP guy? Are you interested in paying him to do your tune as well? Or instead of us participating, and you're just going to pay a few $100s more, and then we set it up and do that as well, and then they know really how awesome it can be. And every time we do that, we'll make a little bit of money doing that, and we'll learn a shitload more from Jeff every time we do it. So it's like no brainer for a dealer that has a max to not want to also provide that service, because I want to know I'm giving the absolute best results that I have available to me. And if Jeff remote tuning in and we pay him I don't know how many hundreds that he needs to get out of it from our end. I didn't even work him and Tyson worked out the whole fucking thing. It was amazing. And you can have a really amazing good result, even if you're a really good DSP tuner. And I'm pretty fucking good. I'm not fucking as good as Jeff, but I'm good. And Tyson's fucking great now too. And like a big step in his greatness is our experience hanging out with Jeff at the fucking jail training, and now also that total tune that we did for Jeff's friend with the really cool F-150 that we worked on. So it was a really great experience. I thought it was really cool. So I think that dealer people are the ones that can benefit most from this. Really.
Yeah, I mean, so a quick statistic on that, and it was great working with Tyson. And obviously, I hope that moving forward we keep doing tunes, because it's going to benefit both parties, right? It's not like it's just benefiting me, but a quick statistic on this: approximately 400 of these things are sold. The last I checked inventory yesterday, because we just sold another Max today. We've sold 3 this week at Mobile Toys, by the way, Bobby. So just checked inventory. There's 2 left, I think, on this run. That being said, there's 400 in the United States. There's less than 10 certified individuals in the United States.
I think it's 19 now. Right?
19? Okay. So
19.
So a few from the class have come up then. But there's 20. And
bitches, get good.
But
get good.
Basically,
that's that Trailblazer I did.
Even if there's 20, like imagine if everyone owns 1 and I own 5. Okay, so great. There's 24 of these things being actively used. Well, it sounds like to me like there's 300 and some odd other Maxes sitting there being paperweights. So why not put them to work?
I had a customer that the 2 JL 10W7 acrylic box that we built and shipped out a few weeks ago. We posted pictures of it, the rendering and the thing. Anyway, that customer, we were talking about it, and I was telling him about Jeff, and he's like a super duper JL guy. Every system he's ever had since he was in high school has been all fucking JL. So he's got all JL everything. And I was telling him about Jeff, and he was looking up Jeff, and he was looking at stuff, and he was talking. He's like, yeah, and I'll have him do the tune thing, and I'll work that out great. And then he found his local JL dealer had a Max that they bought, that they opened up, and they fucked with a little bit, and then they just weren't interested, and he paid $2,200 for it. He's like, dude, I just picked this up. He sent me a picture. I just bought this for $2,200. I was like, I'll take 10 of them. Like, fucking sign me up for that stack of those things, because that's fucking way less than dealer cost on that shit. And it's like, yeah, it's some people get really, really fucking intimidated by that kind of stuff. Where me, it's like the best way to describe tuning DSPs is you're playing a pretty fucking difficult video game. And when you're done, your fucking audio system sounds amazing. Or you might have fucked it up and you should start over. But it's just like a video game. You could just start to fuck over. You're like, oh, I lost at Tetris. Let's do it again. And it's like, that's what is amazing about tuning DSPs. It's super fun.
Drew, there's a comment up a couple that I wanted to touch on. The guy said no Hawaii. So funny enough, it's funny that you mentioned that. I don't ship there because so the whole business plan is I can only afford so many of these things. You know, I funded it off my own money, and I still drive a 2016 Mazda 6, so it's not like I'm rolling in it, right? But I need them back within a certain amount of time. But that being said, that's why I ship to only lower 48. I am, however, doing a tune in Chile soon. I'm doing multiple tunes in Mexico. I'm doing a tune in India shortly. A lot of these people own Maxes. I mean, there's these things all over the friggin' world, and people don't know how to use them. And it's like, cool. Well, why don't I log in and I tune it for you. You pay me to tune it, and then maybe, just maybe, you get a little bit better, or you learn a little bit of my process, or whatever the case may be. And I encourage everyone to develop their own process. I don't want anyone just to copy mine, but you might be like, oh,
but
why
if you're
is he
gonna
doing it
copy
that way?
somebody's,
But
learn from everybody. I wouldn't be opposed to having Drew jump in and do a remote tune for one of my vehicles, or one of my customer vehicles for that matter, just to learn some of his tricks, because there's so many different ways to go through these processes.
oh yeah.
But
it was actually kind of fun. So I did that simulated remote tune for that live stream I did showing off the Down Sound DSP. I wasn't here, but all the it was connected to like speakers and an amp and all that just in the shop. And I did it from in here, tuned it.
That's
I was
cool.
like, damn, I feel like Jack.
No, it's a ton of fun. And it was never I'll answer that question in a second, by the way. It was never designed to be
we'll
like
come back to it.
competition ready. Like the whole purpose of this was because there's so many shops and basically people that are tuning that are not getting the best results. And even though I'm fully remote, and even though yes, I could probably do a better tune in person, doesn't mean that my remote tune doesn't have value against what other people are doing in that area at this exact time. Maybe when they develop their skills a little bit more, we can have a conversation. But for now, I feel like everyone needs to jump up a couple levels in this tuning thing. It's DSPs are not going away, so
damn it, boy.
So I do have plans to purchase more.
I mean,
I've got my eyes.
You wouldn't have to drive a Mazda if you just sold all that.
I've got my eyes on 3 more.
What were those little things in front of the boxes? Those little black.
Those are microphone arrays. So,
Okay.
Or microphone holders. So those are made by Scott Williams, buddy of mine in Kansas. Those are absolutely awesome. They are the exclusive microphone array that I send out with my units, and pretty much everyone that I talk to, I recommend that they buy one from him. Sometimes there's some delays in production because he makes them in small batches, but I won't use another microphone array at this point for any of my remote tunes. So
Microphone mount,
yeah.
Because normally we were doing it's like mic stands in the seat, but it's real hard to get it in the exact same spot every time. So this mounts to your headrest bars, so you always be in the same spot.
I do have 2 of the one that Drew's talking about, and I do send those out for let's say you don't have a removable headrest, like you have a Honda Civic Type R or whatever. Anything that doesn't have a headrest, or if I need to tune a boat, or I need to tune a venue, like the little bendy deals. That's a copy of what I do. So those are a good example where you would send the bendy one instead of the headrest one. But the headrest one is a lot more compact, and it's a lot easier to get in the exact spot. The bendy ones can kind of be a little bit like, just stop moving, So that's my 2 cents on it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you want to go back up to the other one, how the one dude could get a hold of me there, Danny. So basically, he can just you can just reach out to me, Danny, on Facebook, the Total Tuning Facebook page. You can send a contact us on my website, totaltuningusa.com. I've got an Instagram that I reply to. You can also message my personal, but I try to keep it on the business side to keep it organized. So any of those, yep. Goal is to get a few more dealers. I don't want to have, like 100 of these dealers that I tune for, but I want to, work with people that are passionate about making their vehicle sound better. And Bobby's one of them. Bobby's, super, super awesome. Like started with this whole SPL thing and like has gravitated towards the sound quality thing and making it sound better. And I think that's super, that's where the whole industry needs to go, So
yes, SQ guys need to be louder. SPL guys need to sound better, and we can.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
What percentage of the aftermarket car stereo buyers are into a 100? I mean, a lot of people might be into it. How many have it? 0.5%. Half of 0.5%. Tiny number.
Well, no. I mean, if you say
people.
car stereo buyers, it's probably more than that. If you just say like everybody that has a stereo, like stock stereo, I mean, anybody who's actually buying a system, you think there's less than 1% of them buying systems?
Way less than 1%. Tiny percent
that have a tuned DSP.
No,
that have 140 dB plus.
Yeah, that's like 112 in your trunk.
Or two.
Well, it's 112 if you actually. Oh yeah, it's 112 if you.
I bet it's more than 0.5%.
Or a single Gately Audio Alpha 8 on 800 watts.
I'm telling you, I bet it's incredibly low.
Hey, my 12W my 12W7s do it at friggin' 15 hertz though, Bobby.
That'd be awesome.
No, it's. I mean, they're. No, I think it's a tiny number, itty bitty. And then if you talk about actual like bass heads, even smaller.
Yeah, but that being said, it's not. I don't think it's hard to do a 140. I mean, if you do a ported box and you're doing anything remotely close, get it remote. I don't think a 140 is hard.
I mean, it's not if that's your goal, but
yeah,
it's such a vague question because aftermarket car stereo buyers is a very wide. It's like the whole the whole industry. Then no chain. Itty bitty.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring mobile toys into it. We do a metric ton of builds, and very few are over 140 because that's not what generally our customers are asking for. We've done multiple, above that and above 150s and all of that, but most of our clients are asking for high-end DSPs that, they'll play very, very musically in the high 130s, under seat truck boxes that sound great and jam. That's it.
Y'all see the Dusty Cat subs they're selling on Marketplace? Todd, yours is that SQ Stereo Integrity SQL15 in a 6 order on like 2K.
Yeah, that's like a 45.
I mean, I would say a 50, but we could get it to 50 if you narrow down the bandwidth a lot. But dude, I think played dumb low.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to go back to
that's probably a 45.
Salt 8 or JP83. I mean, the Salt 8's the overall better amp. It's double the price, but I mean,
so Salt 8.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, it depends on. There's a lot of amps. Well, how much is the JP83?
Like $15.99.
Yeah, in that price range, there's a lot of amps that are just as good or better.
$14.99, I think. Yeah, $14.99. And what's the Salt 8? Salt 8. $1 billion. My mortgage? What?
Probably $2,300.
Your first
$23.99.
Yeah, it's been a little more. Get the Salt.
I mean, the JPM makes sense if
you're like, should I do the Ruthless or should I do the JP83? You're like, well, they're very, very similar in a lot of ways. So, like, try calling the manufacturers and see who answers the phone and see what kind of assistance you get, and look at, start going off of customer service. And I know JP is known for having good customer service, but like the Ruthless guys are really fantastic.
Lot bigger company.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes the bigger company becomes more of an issue, right? Where you call Ruthless, you probably get Ben.
Yeah.
And so there's something to say.
I mean, there was also a time where you called Gately, you always got Bobby.
Yeah, you still get me pretty frequently, or you often get my wife, and sometimes you get Gavin, who's normally working at the station behind me. Right now it's Anthony, but a lot of times it's me.
Like, I don't think it's shilling if you like work there. I think that's just like your job. You're supposed to say you're.
Honestly, that amp is one of the amps that always pops in the mind of like a Beast 8K that's affordable. It's a great board. I know that thing is. I've seen it in person in Carlos's build, and I've seen the 12Ks, and I know that they're good stout amps for the cost. Same with the Ruthless amps. I mean, there's a lot of good amps in that 1,500 price range that are 8Ks.
Mm-hmm. I think JP's biggest advantage is just there's so many colors now, but
yeah, you can be like, oh man, my color theme is orange or fucking purple or blue or red or fucking anything, and it's like, yep, he's got it, and that shit looks really cool when he's got them all lined up. It's like the same model amp, there's fucking 9 different colors.
It is a good pick. I'll give him that. It's a good pick.
Gately, how much is your 71, right?
My 7100 is very similar to like Assault 6.
Okay.
And it is the same price. It's $18.99. So yeah.
I thought the 71 was I thought the one I have is more like Assault 6.
They're very similar. The biggest difference between the 5700 and the 7100 is the triple inputs. And it actually made with the triple inputs, it makes about 6% more power. Just triple inputs, and then it also has a little bit different chipset on the signal input side that makes it sound a little prettier, but it's a bass amp, so how much prettier can it really sound? But yeah, that was the biggest difference in it. When I torture tested the 5700 until it blew, we rated the 5700 at 12 volts. 12.0 volts. It made 5,700 watts at 1 ohm on the dyno.
What did it do?
It made 7,100 watts at 13.8 on the dyno at 1 ohms.
Do you know what it made in 15 volts? Did you ever test that? Did you go up that high?
Yeah, it made like 8,200 watts at 15 volts.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is what you would expect out of like Assault 6 as well.
Right.
Especially the newer Assault 6s that also have triple inputs.
So are you only gonna continue with one of those since they're so close, or are you gonna keep making both?
Oh no, I replaced the 5700 with the 7100.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. There are no more of the 5700s left.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So when I went, I'm gonna beat on this until it fucking dies and find out what the weakest link is, and then the next time we make the next batch of these amplifiers, I'm gonna make them stronger. And so on Steve's dyno, and I had gone to 0.67 ohms, and there's no rise in that on that fucking load, and it ran it and made like fucking 11,000 watts. I was like, holy shit! And then I tried it at a half, and it like went in and protect right away. And then I got it to make a run at half by like bringing it up slow, and it only went to like 11,000 watts. But I may have been able to turn it up more, but I kind of chickened out. And then I tried to just kind of hit it again at half ohm, and went into protect. And so I went back to 0.67. I made one more run, and at that point I was like, how hot is this fucking thing? The heatsink was pretty hot, but the power inputs were fucking hot. Like, ooh. And I was like, I don't like that the power wires are getting fucking hot, and at the connections on the blocks.
You think maybe had a little bit of resistance going on there because
well, look at this is where all your resistance is. Right fucking there. So I'm gonna fix that.
I know you said you don't really like the set screw style. Right?
I don't like the set screw style. I mean, it obviously works. It's okay. But what my plan is to make these accept a lug style, a big fucking lug style. So then you could put fucking 4-aught if you wanted. I could have triple fucking 4-aught on my amp if I wanted to, because
Yeah, that's just like it's such a big block though because of how big a lug is. Like a 1-aught lug is what, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches
long, but not wide.
Right, but I mean, you to accept unless they slide into the amp a little bit, but if they're sitting on a block, that's still how big is a set style screw block? 1 inch total.
Tiny.
So it's an extra inch,
No,
maybe it's pretty bigger.
Probably not an extra inch. Probably an extra 1/2 or 5/8 of an inch.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Get a little bit
Why
bigger.
a T-line, Todd? I mean, they're
you would.
Do you think putting a ferrule?
Yeah. What's that?
Well, before we get off the subject, do you think using a ferrule on wire
it helps a lot.
Less resistance or more resistance?
Way less resistance because it'll pinch and wrap around it like a crimp, and it definitely helps. Like we really, really want to have ferrules going in our amplifiers. It's really important that we have them.
I feel like I can test this.
So when you put the ferrule on, you're crimping it first.
No, I'm not. It goes in, and then you cinch that set screw down, and it crimps it.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. So you're not crimping it first.
No, I also don't like when the guys have like the big double billet thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that the billet piece going in there is a good connection. I think it's a super shit connection, actually.
I have those inputs on every amp. Jim sent them to me for SEMA. It's the first time I've ever used them. I always just go either ferrule or straight wire, but I would do a ferrule. But this time I used
I forgot I had those
the inputs, but
until I took Tahoe apart and I was like, all these wires have like the single ends. I was like, huh. Well, I mean, I guess they never caused a problem. So
yeah.
But I mean, I feel like so you have this round piece that goes in, right? And it's smaller than the diameter of this, and then it's got a set screw that goes onto the flat part, and that pushes. So it's just this puny little dot of a connection from this thing that makes its connection from the inside of the threads, and then you have this bottom round piece that goes into this round hole, and now just a little bit of pressed connection there. So that's a pretty shitty connection. It is. It's amazing how well they still work, but I bet when you start laying into a system, if you were to like be watching the heat come to life, if you were looking at it with like a thermal camera, I bet that's where the fucking heat starts and goes out from there.
Yeah.
I'm curious now.
And that's what was happening with my amp that I was murdering on the dyno. I beat an amp until it gushed smoke and fucking made noise and fire came out of it. I did it until I was like, I'm going to do this. And Steve was like, fucking do it. And those wires were hot as fuck. And I was like, it's going to be way better with triple inputs because that's going to help. All the fucking heat is happening on the MOSFET and on the rails.
Yeah. So. Yeah. There's got to be a better way, but I mean, besides ferrules or lugs, but I feel like there's even got to be a better way, but it would take engineering.
Hardwire wires, like go back to the fucking early 80s and we just have fucking 1-aughts coming out of our amps that are fucking 18 feet long and you fucking and then you put a lug there on a fuse block into your.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was a couple
audio.
Feet of wire, even if it was just enough wire to get to a distribution block or something.
See, Phil's a super duper smart dude. I totally agree with him agreeing with me.
Dude,
I mean, that's probably why. That's probably why amps always had spade connectors back in the day, or I mean, for big power, we never had
big power
back then.
Okay, so what's going to happen is my next amplifiers are all going to have lug style inputs that will accept like a fucking 2-aught lug. You can use a 1-aught lug, but you could also fit a fucking 2-aught, maybe even a 4-aught. You
Don't
direct
give DD
lead
no
amp.
ideas, bro.
Yeah, direct lead out. So that's how they used to be. That's what we were just saying.
I know.
Like-
Well, that was my joke. Is that you get your fucking here's your Gately 7700, and it's like it's the same board, but here it is, and it's got fucking
It's got like
6
4
2-aught wires,
60
fucking
feet of
gushing
wires
out of that
coming out.
motherfucker, and a big,
Yeah.
plastic gusset thing with strain reliefs. You fucking swing that motherfucker around over your head like this, and be like, I ain't worried about these wires.
Like for everyone who is old, people have forgotten that there used to be direct lead amps. So
It wasn't that long ago. Shit. I mean, fuck. 20 years ago.
That's how long ago it was, man.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you something. I loved every direct
Tell you
lead amp
something
I ever
funny.
got because they were all like given to me, or I purchased them for like, they'd be like, what are you doing with that? And I'd be like, oh, bro, do you want to? You'll fucking put that in your car, won't you? Here, you can have it. You love these things. This has been sitting here for 6 years. I'm like, fucking badass Alpha Sonic 2300. Fucking
Nice.
leads were like this long sticking out of that amp. I was fucking soldering like a motherfucker to extend that shit. Trying to solder shitty ass car audio, 8-gauge wire, the fucking jackets. Yeah.
Well, while we're on power inputs of amps, why do they do positive, negative, positive, negative? Some companies are now doing all positives and all negatives, but like, why is
B2
that?
was the first company that I saw that had amps done where they were like positives here, negatives there. I don't fucking know why. I don't know why, and I really like that, and I asked for that from S&I, and they were like, we don't do it that way. I was like, oh, okay.
So you
John,
went from
John said board layout.
I thought it would have something to do with just the way the amps work, but it's just the layout of the board.
The layout of the board. So if they make an all new board, like B2's 4500s has triple 1-aught inputs, and I was like, that's really excessive. But being that they don't have any fucking heat sink at all, they really fucking don't. They're just smooth and they're thin as fuck, and there's barely any meat to that heat sink on the B240, and they don't have heat issues. And I think a big reason why they don't is because they have so much power input on them. And those amps we're clamping over 5,000 watts out of those things. They're very powerful amplifiers.
I think the kicker amps, Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are power on one side, ground on the other, the new ones, the Warhorses coming out.
I can tell you.
I think it's positive, positive, negative, negative, and they're right in the middle versus the sides. But
No, that photo doesn't tell me shit.
I remember
This one will.
the first big amps that had quad inputs. They all had like it was like positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Then the end one would be negative, positive.
yeah,
And you'd be like, and it would say it on the bottom and it didn't say it on the top. So people were like, what the fuck?
dude, I did that when I first wired up my Ampere 8.0. It was triple, but that's how it was. It was positive, negative, positive, negative.
Yeah.
And I went to put that last one in, and it was fucking pow. I was like, oh my God. What did...
So it's positives in the middle and negatives on the outside. Okay. I mean, that's. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
And at least the remote's nowhere near the ground. I like that. Yeah.
This is a top secret photo.
Yeah, you could see that now. I mean, that's in the Bronco, right?
Yeah, but this was taken during we were doing
When it
something.
was top secret.
it wasn't in the public yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a deliberate choice that Kicker did that because that's their own design. So
yeah, well, they did go over the amp on one of their lives, and it has to do with efficiency. Like the most efficient way they were able to design the amp was having it through the middle like that.
It is a full bridge amp.
Yep.
And under remind you of it is. Most amps from big manufacturers are.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Shit. So Jeff, I might have to take you up on the remote tuning once I get everything in here. Either that, I mean, or maybe we'll get you on the line when I fly Drew's ass out here, because I know we've got a bunch of
something like yours is.
It would be
like it's
better
more than just RTA tuning.
Like you and I, we've got to do the tuning of the loading wall.
Yeah,
that's something different. But as far as like the outside and the doors, I mean, it already sounds really good. I'm sure it can sound good.
And that was like mostly just my ears.
Yeah, it's just like EQ'd a little bit.
And I'm like, which note is it that you don't like, Steve? And he's like, that. And I'm like, okay. And I like grabbed a fucking, I'm like, is it this? He's like, I don't think so. And I'm like, next one over. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pull that one down a little bit. And I let Steve ear tune it while he was standing where I was sitting on the fucking ground with my laptop in my lap. So, but it sounds really fucking good. It's good. So, but if we put the mics outside of it, and what you'd probably do, what would probably be best is or would be very, very effective is you put the mics 15, 25 feet away from it on one side, and then you just mirror the fucking tune, because it's exactly the same thing on the other side, and then it's exactly the same thing in the front, isn't it? No, it's a little bit different. So you go to the front and do the front separate. So
the front, right? Yeah, the front's different. The front's
it's the same speakers, but they're in a different array. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is there's going to be some floor bounce.
Yeah, I mean,
there's good.
So what did you say, Jeff? At 15 and 25 feet,
there's going to be floor bounce that the microphones will pick up. Our ears don't really care to hear it, but basically that floor bounce will cause a comb filter. And the biggest things that you'll notice, like the big stunt wall builds, they'll sound better in a grass field than they will on concrete most of the time, in my opinion. From a not a loudness perspective, but like that doesn't make me want to squint type of perspective.
I've been wondering, man, how they. So I've been playing with these 12-inch Neo Pros and all this other stuff, and I don't know how some of these people manage to mess this stuff up so bad on these stunt walls. Like I would
love to tune a stunt wall one day, because I still haven't done it, and I feel like I could do a fantastic job doing it.
Dude, I want to tune the Sky High truck with the fold up bed, and I want to that or shit show, but I don't want to, because I don't want to be around. They're so loud.
Well, you don't have to turn it up. Once you're driving, once you're operating it for your tune, it doesn't have to be that fucking loud. And then when you crank it up and you go, how does that sound? It sounds fantastic. And you're like, look, I left room in it. If you want it to be uncomfortable, here's your shit. Go ahead. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I wonder if Kicker's going to make a big compression horn like that versus like this, we have compression tweeters now, right, Drew? Isn't that what they are? They're not, or are they horns?
They're compression drivers, but then they go on to horns.
John wants to build a stunt wall.
But like the compression horns that are like in the.
He wants to set people on fire with fucking.
Yeah, those are just
John's
drivers on horns.
I wonder if Kicker's going to make some like.
Ow! It's like cooking them a little bit.
They're so big. I mean, they kind of do. You had the towers. That's what that is.
Yeah, I'm just like, when you look at the Sky High truck, I feel like it's so loud because of the horns. I mean, obviously the mid bass too, but there's how many horns are on that thing, Bobby?
I don't know, a bunch.
70, 60?
Well, like speakers overall, it's 96 speakers on the whole fucking wall.
Yeah, it's like half of them
on the fucking unfolding wall. It's 96.
Yeah, like half of them are horns. So it's just that like 1,000 hertz and up is just fucking devastating. That build, it's wild.
And I wish people. He just reminded me. I wish they would stop calling these pro audio mid-range driver mid-bass drivers. If they can't play below 120 hertz, that ain't no mid-bass. Stop it. That's a mid-range driver with 2 more millimeters of X-Max. The people are like, I got 10-inch mid-range and 10-inch mid-bass. Are they playing the same shit? Yeah. Why? Pick one.
Yeah.
Like you're causing your own comb filter, your own issue. You're doing it to yourself. Multiple,
I mean,
bigger, small, larger drivers are the best route to go. That's why I'm dropping quantity and going up in size in the Tahoe.
Yeah,
Fewer.
that's one thing I always thought
Yeah,
about.
well,
Tahoe.
the shallow fucking 12s that Sundown is making, that shit looks fucking cool. And part of what I mean, when we were making our 8-inch mid bass driver, it's not a fucking pro audio driver. It's a fucking high end component. But it's pretty fucking shallow. It's very shallow compared to every other 8-inch that I've seen. So I'm really excited about that. And we had like an easy time installing them in like the front doors of a not shallow subwoofers. I don't like that shit. But in the front doors of like Colt's Honda Pilot and another customer's Honda Pilot. And I know I can put them in the Ford, Chevy, Dodge trucks and Toyota trucks really easily because they're shallow enough to do that. So
what do you mean by separation?
One thing that while we're talking about mids that I miss about like the Best Buy days or the Circuit Cities or all those places that used to have a lot of car audio is you'd have the wall of mids and you could just have the one head unit going. And you just go from one to the other and hear the difference like on literally the exact same power, same head unit, same song. And like it's something that Drew's kind of doing.
To really know how well they would really sound in a vehicle, though.
But it still gives you an idea of like what kind of sound they are producing.
Right.
Just like when Drew does his side by side, and I mean, like a paper cone versus a carpet, there's so much differences. They're both 6.5s. They both are 80-watt speakers, blah, blah, blah. And the average person has no clue. But when you walk into a big box store like that and you can hear 20 different sets, like, I like the way that sounds. It might not sound that way in your car, but
right. Yeah, but you can pick them and you know that you're heading in the right direction. Maybe. Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a way to get that back.
Well, what we would do, like what we talked about, is someday when we have a lot more space, having like a fucking a cab of a fucking Ford truck or something, but just the primary cab part and have little speaker pods. They could even be in an array that you can listen to out there, but you could just pull that thing off the wall, disconnect a little pluggy gizmo, and you can like put that into the little door, into that little spot that it goes in. And you can put the different dash A-pillar pods on the fucking dash.
Chris Pate is watching right now, ordering a body for a truck right now. He's like, I'm on this.
What's that?
I said Chris Pate is watching right now.
Oh, yeah.
If you get to that size, Bobby, that would be super cool, man. To have your showroom, like instead of being this big wall of speakers.
Well, no, you have that too. You have them going down both walls, and you can like you stand at the back. Maybe the back of the truck has head unit controls, and you fucking press a button, and it's which one. People are like, man, I really love those. And be like, you want to hear what they sound like in the cab of your truck? Like, you have a Ford, cool. This is a Ford cab, but a Chevy cab is real similar anyway. Get your ass in, and you pull those fucking things off the wall. You swing door open, you click this fucking thing, and you plug a little wire in. You beep a bop a little, you tell it which fucking tune you have on it because you have fucking, you're like, oh, it's the fucking light blue tune on this button was the one done with the C7s, or the light blue is with the C fucking 3s. And you're like, which tune? Does it sound awesome? I don't know. Fuck. And yeah, and they can listen
that
to
would be doable. With like the 3D printing capabilities you have, how much you can get a cheap cab from the yard that's decent enough to do a little body.
$1,000, right?
Like you can totally fucking do that. You can make these
imagine like you go, okay, cool. Oh, we're gonna slide the 4.8 truck box in under the back seat, and it's in there.
Keep that in there all the time.
Right? No, because you could you open up a little hatch in the back and you slide the fucking blow through box with fucking 615s in it up against that motherfucker.
Boy, this is giving out full demos.
Yeah, there you go. And they're like, what the fuck, dude? You're like,
that would be so cool.
You asked if I had a demonstration. I do. Get in.
Yeah.
We're doing hair tricks in the lobby.
Fucking hey, and everything's mounted solid as fuck to the walls, like nothing can fucking move. All those speaker pods stick with like a dozen neo magnets on each one. They're like whack, whack, whack. Nothing fucking rattles. It's just fucking badass. And it'd be like, what the fuck? How do you do that in here? And be like, well, we built it to deal with that shit.
Dude, that'll actually be like cool.
Maybe someday.
Super cool.
Like you guys all come out and hang out and help us fucking build it. Like this is so much fun. It's a stupid thing. We load that demo rig onto the back of a trailer and just take it to a show. And you're like, yeah, this is my SQ build.
Yeah, just bring the cab and then a bunch of components in a box or something. And when you get there, you're like,
Yeah.
Bring a whole new
Bobby,
here's the C7s, here's Gately's, here's these speakers, here's this shit. These are fucking
you just got Bobby. There's not a rule.
A trolley. That'd be fucking awesome.
There's not a rule.
There's not a rule at Aggieland.
Build like a big old crate. It just looks like a crate. You just hop in, close the door. It's all dark.
We might be able to get it into Aggieland. Never know.
Dude, that'd be sick. Freaking Aggie. I can't wait for this
When is Aggieland? Do you have the dates?
April something.
First weekend of April. I want to say it's the 7th. I'm looking it up right now.
Good. UFC 300 is on the 13th, and I'm gonna be at UFC 300.
Ooh, nice. When is that?
It's the weekend before.
13th of February.
April.
No, March.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad that you said the 7th, so I might be able to go. So
yeah.
I will likely at least fly out and hang out, but maybe I'll drive my van or my truck, depending on what functions.
It's a fun time.
Could I bring the Explorer? A lot of people off.
No, you probably can't.
Turn that down.
This particular Aggieland is going to be a very, very, very special one. There's some really amazing cars coming out of retirement. Cars that make mine look like stock rental cars are coming out of retirement to compete at this year's Aggieland.
Really?
So if you are interested in seeing some crazy shit and hanging out and eating some barbecue, you know where to go.
I like barbecue.
People with fucking barbecue sauce in their hands getting into people's cars. What's up, bro?
I'm here for a demo. Get out.
Like that.
Leave.
Drinking a soda. They got a rib.
Aggie's a great show.
I haven't had Texas barbecue yet. I did have barbecue in Memphis. That was fucking really good.
So it's just the one day, the 7th?
6th
so I
and
get
7th.
there.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get there like
we
the
have
5th.
We have an informal, when I say we, like Drew and a couple of my close buddies. So obviously if you're here, you'll be invited. We have a little hangout situation at my house where we all help each other tune. Like basically there's 5 or 6 cars there and we're all just like sitting in each other's cars like, hey, I think this is pretty good, but I heard this, and
so
we all kind of help each other. Last year we helped one of my my buddies that works at the shop, Justin Armour. We helped him do some stuff, and he got 14th the next day. So I know 14th sounds terrible, but 14th at Aggieland's like, oh damn, you doing something.
14th in the money round. So, you gotta be specific.
Yeah. 14th cool. In the money round. So like there's so Bobby, you haven't heard my car, but Drew has, so he'll appreciate this statement. I don't know that I'll make top 10 this year. Last year I made 4th.
Hey.
Like there's so many good cars coming to Aggieland this year that it would be like
I might have to come.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Like we'll just be the guys that are hanging out, and, like eating barbecue and getting demos and
smearing fingers.
Learning my ears to know what to fucking really be listening for.
Yeah. Like, there's like I said, on a direct message, I'll tell you some of these cars that are coming, but they are like multiple hundreds of $1,000 builds, like stupid.
That sounds fun.
So, oh yeah,
Sounds really cool.
it'd be a ton of fun.
This one first. New doors gonna be 2 Neo Pro 12s per door. And I was gonna do, I'll probably still do it where like the rear one turns off when the door closes, but I'm gonna have independent speaker controls, so I can just leave them turned on and just align them.
Are you doing all 4 doors? Or just
The back doors will. I have an idea for something for the back doors that I haven't seen in car audio before, so it would
like the rear doors or the back cab, like which
rear doors? The doors.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna try something that I haven't seen before that I'm not sure why I haven't seen before. So,
okay.
Any pro tips on port area ratios? Ignore ratios. Ratios are not something to it's like ratios are like port per square inch. Like it might get you to some bass playing, but
isn't like 1 octave apart or something like pretty
that's
standard?
tuning.
Or not 1 octave, but like double.
Tuning.
Sorry, I mean double the, like if you tune the one lower chamber at 20, you'd want to tune the front at 40. Like is that always
that's an octave up. Yep. Octave spacing tuning.
Is that an
octave?
The ratio double? Is that what an octave is?
So if you go up, it's double. If you come down, it's half. It's goofy. So like the ratio thing, like a lot of people follow it. And it works well enough because you just kind of like port per square inch. You just end up in areas that work, but they're just byproducts of aiming for other things. Like I can explain, like if you tell me a ratio, I can tell you why it's sounding the way it is because of not the ratio, but the like they say 1-to-1s and like below 2-to-1 or more musical. That's because there's less port area. There's less port area and there's less chamber volume to allow the peakier response. Kind of like if you shrink the port area on a normal ported box, it'll widen out bandwidth and you'll lose overall output. Same thing.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody I know that has a 6 that does really well, they've spent a shit ton of time tuning rear, front. Like it'll work.
That's why four quarters end up louder all the time. Because like when you mess with the rear chamber of a 6, you have to do the front. Like there will be a corresponding front change. That's so much effort.
Yeah, it's not just twice as much work to fuck with it. It's like 4 times as much work to fuck with it. But if you fuck with it, you might really fuck it up real bad too.
But the problem becomes
definitely can fuck it up.
So you're supposed to make one change, test it to know if it helped or hurt. But with the 6 or like the stuff like that, you can't make just one change. You have to make 2 to be properly doing it, and then you don't know which one hurt or helped.
Well, like John would do stuff like make one change and then fuck with it and be like, that's the direction that I expected it would go, and now I'm going to do this and make sure that it goes the direction I expect it to go. So you definitely only do one fuck with at a time, but you are planning to do a second one after you verified that it did the good you wanted it to do and fucked up what you expected it to fuck up, and then you fixed that, what it fucked up, and then you also, again, you go, all right, so I made this change here now, and it fixed that fucky thing, and I created this other fucky thing that I am now going to fix over here. And it might be somewhere else in the vehicle. Like John made these fucky wedge things that they were close to the port, but they weren't in the fucking port, but they were like pieces of wood that pressed against the back of his seat outside, 5 inches away from the port opening of the outside vertical port opening in the Blazer, right? And he put those things in, and he was like, I think it's fucking louder. But he didn't have a meter to like meter if it was louder. He was like, I just feel like the experience is fucking better. And when I got in it to listen to it, I was like, I don't know, I can't really fucking tell. And he was like, okay, hold on a minute. And he like pulled them out, like unbolted all these fucking like 12 fucking bolts in each one, pulled them out, and then turned it right back on. And I was like, yeah, put those back in and keep them there. It was for the door unloading, right? Yeah. Okay. So it was like coupling the fucking seat to the port so that the way that the port energy was going behind the fucking seat and making its way over to the rear doors, to the doors. It only had front doors, but
that's how complex this stuff is.
Right. And it was like, yeah, you could tell, but you could only tell if you listened to it and did this fucking song and you experienced it and you were studying it. And then you went, all right, give me a minute. And like fucking a couple minutes later, they get back in and you're like, I'm really confident that it's better. Like, I definitely like it more right where I'm sitting. So maybe with a headrest, but you know what? Sometimes with these fucking vehicles, you're not really listening with the fucking headrest. You put the mic on the head. This is something we were talking about. It's like, you're listening with your whole fucking body. So when people are like, oh yeah, fucking down there in your foot, I'm like, yeah, well, my fucking foot feels that shit, bitch. So does my ass. Should I put a fucking meter right where my butt goes? Because that might also be a good piece of information when you're checking how loud these fucking vehicles are, right? You know where my face isn't? It's not the fucking pressed against the fucking windshield because that's stupid. So,
well, are there any loud sealed builds? I don't know.
I hope to make one day. I would love to do a really loud sealed build.
I think
it won't be loud to you guys.
Yeah, like loud. It's like it's pointless to do that. If you're trying to get loud, building it sealed makes no sense. But yeah, you can get loud with a sealed build.
Well, the loudest shits on the planet are fourth orders that have a sealed chamber.
Sealed. Yeah.
And like Carlos's sixth order a fourth order isn't really working quite like its normal fourth orderness when it just has one fucking sub in it. It's
I don't know.
Just that teeny tiny sealed box at that point, but it's got to be coupling with the rest of that fucking thing. But it's it's obviously it's got like fucking 7-inch thick fucking windshield. I don't think I'm exaggerating. I think it's 7 inches thick, right? Is that right?
I think it's 5.
Okay,
it's whatever the max is. Whatever the max is allowed.
The max real glass now, there's a limit of how loud it can be.
No. How thick the windshield can be.
John asked earlier, and I meant to circle back to that, the fancy upmixer gizmo. How are those things going, Jeff? And I don't know if Drew, you were in on that, but like,
I will be, and whenever we get Brandy's Explorer going, because she has a center channel location, but I'm not cutting my dash for it yet.
The Sprinter has center channel location. I want that shit real bad. What's up, Jeff? Talk to me, Goose. What do you got?
So the ribbon piece is going to be really, really good. I haven't messed with it yet. I've been working on total tuning pretty much all of January. I got to make a promo video next. And then in February, we're going to take my car apart and install that in my car. But about 3 weeks before that, we're actually installing one at MTI next week. We're installing a ribbon piece with a 6-inch center channel and stuff like that.
Are they available to purchase now or no?
Should be. He's doing them in smaller runs. He's building up his business and all of that. But I would last I checked, there's another run that he made available. Just you have to have a little bit more of developed build to run them. I think you can't just run a 4-channel and whatever. You got to have at least 10 channels to run a ribbon piece. So
look, I do what I want.
I mean, I have a VXI 808, but I was thinking about putting a second like 808, and so I could bridge all the fucking channels. And And I have custom pillars and custom little door pods and fuckloads of sound deadening, and my van is well equipped and it has a little spot for center channel, and I could make it fucking big as fuck. I'll put a goddamn 8 in that motherfucker if I can. It'd be the way, right?
So to answer Steven's question, when you're doing the ribbon piece and or any of those upmix systems, you kind of want the center channel to be the same output potential as the left and the right channels. So for instance, let's just say you had a 3-way with an 8-inch mid bass and a 3-inch and a tweeter, like all that kind of stuff on your left and right, and your center channel, you're just like, I'll just put a 3-inch mid range in there. Well, your whole system is going to be only as strong as your weakest link, which is your center channel 3-inch. So the problem is that so like in my car, we're doing a C7 6.5 in the center with a C7 tweeter. So essentially, I'll have almost
my man got triple C7 money.
Well, I have ZR800s in the doors, but it'll have 70-ish% of the output as the ZR800s, and it should still do 105 dB full tilt boogie, from a 2-seat perspective, which I think is still pretty cool. Rules only mandate 90 dB, so I'm more than above on that. So, but yeah, I'll be doing my first tune next week.
I have 6.5s in my Sprinter doors now, so I would probably just use 6.5 in the center channel.
Yeah, you would do a 6.5 in the center channel.
What?
You can do the 8. It's up to you, but basically all three. Think of it like a 3-channel system. All 3 channels have to be the same exact output potential, and if any one is weaker, all you're going to do is turn them down.
So there's no sense in putting the 8 there if it's probably a shitload more work to put a fucking 8 in a dash than it is a 6.5. So I don't need to put that extra effort at that point. So,
yeah.
You want it to be as tonally accurate to your left and right as possible. So whatever makes that happen.
Yeah. Doing a big coaxial isn't necessarily a good thing, because most of the time coaxials don't sound the greatest when we're talking about this. The timbre will be different. The way it comes off the cone will be different. The coaxial has a passive crossover network that you're messing with. It's going to be a lot of issues. So there's a reason why I'm doing a separate C7.6 and a separate C7 tweeter, fully active, and I've got a couple tricks that I'm going to do inside the dash that will remain private for now. So
you don't want to also get that little 3-inch involved in that?
That's what I said. I said, bro, there's got to be space behind that dash. Move something.
In the Mazda, it probably wouldn't make sense. I would if I had a different style dash. But in the Mazda, I'm probably going to have to relocate my start button and my factory screen, which has like the, safety and fuel mileage data stuff. I'm probably going to have to relocate that up 2 to 3 inches in order to make this all happen the way that I want. Like, you could just put it above the dash, but that's not the way I want to do it. I want it to be like
fucking dash in my van is like fucking, I can't reach the fucking bottom of the glass. It's like dash.
You put a 15 in there.
You definitely could.
Or one of those sundown fucking Neo Pro 12s in the middle of the dash right there. You're like, wow, you got mid, bitch. What?
Yeah, you definitely could. The biggest thing is, you have this balancing act between getting it closer to the windshield, where it'll have the reflection will be the closest to the driver as possible, which we talked about that at the max training, Bobby. Where if your reflection is super far from your mid-range, your depth is going to go to pancake. So you kind of want your reflection to be either the only source or to be really freaking close to your speaker to where it kind of blends together.
What would it sound like if you took Bobby's van or something like that has a huge dash, and you did no doors and you just built like a badass complete center system? Would that be good?
You would be blown away. Like, oh my God, the fucking center imaging is amazing. And then it would go to the right and it would stay right in the center. And then go to the left and it would stay right in the center.
Okay.
And everybody would be right in the center always. And like, so there might be a couple songs that you could really fool the shit out of some people. And they'd be like, wow. And then they like, play this one. You're like, nah. You're like, no, it doesn't play that one well. Let's do this other one right here. And they're like, 2-seat tunes, fucking killer. Like,
well, what if you did it like wide left and right, but it was all in the dash versus doors?
Yeah, so
like
that's been done. There's a high-end sound quality competitor that did really, really well past 3, 4, 5 years ago. It did a couple years of that, and he basically had extended seat rails, and so you're farther back, equal path lengths, and then basically put more or less 2 super crazy high-end bookshelves far left and far right. Like, it's been done. It worked really well, kicked everyone's butt. You know, that there's better cars. It didn't just win everything, but you know, it worked good.
It ain't no Mazda, is what you're saying. Could you
Yeah,
remote tune a vehicle with the rivet piece?
Eventually. So I want to touch on that while you ask that question. I only want to remote tune things that I've done in person, so I'm very comfortable with them. Because the worst thing that you could do is try and troubleshoot something remotely. You know, I don't know how these tech guys do it, these technical support people and all these companies. Like, it is a nightmare. Versus when it's like, if it's a JL, a Helix, a Moscone, or an ARC, I could tell you everything on the back of my hand for the most part, ARC being probably my weakest one. But, you know, any problem with that one, any problem with any of those, I could probably tell you something, you know. But, you know, I get questions all the time, probably, you know, 30 this month. You know, hey, will you tune this processor? Hey, will you tune with this microphone array? Hey, will you tune with that? You know, the answer is no. I'm
What do
only
you
tuning
tune?
those. So JL,
PRV?
VXI, MVI. What?
PRV?
JL, VXI, and MVI. Moscone, Helix, Match, Brax, the whole Audio-Tech Fisher line, and the whole ARC line. So basically, any other processor, I will not tune remotely. I will be accepting more processors as I learn them in person. But you know, could I tune it? Absolutely, I could. But I'm not interested in trying to learn it remotely. I want to learn it in
Nothing wrong with that.
person, and then I'll offer it remotely. Yeah. So same thing
Nothing
with the
wrong with that at
Riven.
all.
You know, when I get more, you know, because so a good example is I'm at almost 500 documented max tunes so far. I'll actually break 500 in the month of January, according to my records here. Before I was comfortable doing remote tuning with Max, to give y'all an idea, I probably had 300. So, you know, and there's a learning curve there too. So it's not going to take me 300 two-seat Riven tunes to feel comfortable, but it's just one of those things. Like, the worst thing that you could do is take someone's money, send this piece out, do a remote tune, and then it's like, right? Like you want to get the thing there and execute it perfectly, and it goes super flawlessly, and it's like, dude, this was amazing. That's all that I want it to ever be. Nothing else.
Does this
and I
Riven
don't want to grow
company
faster than it'll allow it.
Does this Riven company set up dealers?
I think he's working on that. Yes. Because we specifically asked for MTI because we would sell the crap out of that thing. We do a.
I'm confident I would sell them pretty frequently as well, and I'm like, hey, let's. So what I'm not finding is I don't have any like contact them. It's like you can just. It shows that I can buy it, and there's an email. I found an email.
Yeah. No. If
So,
you need any help getting in contact with him, Todd's a great guy. So.
Like I'll make a note. Maybe we'll try to jump on that early next week. I'll give you a holler, or maybe I'll send you a message tomorrow or something. We're leaving at like fucking 4:00 in the morning to go to the airport to go to CES for a couple days. Allie and I.
Okay.
So tomorrow I'll be pretty tied up, but I am interested, and you know, there's a few of us that are super interested in that product. I have customers that are like, I want that. Can we do that? Let's do that. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So, yeah.
No, and it's super cool, and it has. Go what?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It has a provision in it that allows you to use smaller center channels. So like if you were to use a center 3, right? Let's just say it was a normal F-150 or something, and you had, you know, your 2-way or 3-way left, 2-way or 3-way right, and then you had like a single center channel speaker because you're a normal person and you don't want to do a crap ton of fabrication, right? So there's a provision inside the Riven that allows you to adjust a setting. It's not ideal. It's just going to help a lot. So basically, you pick a frequency that the center channel can play down to. Let's just call it 400 hertz. Everything above 400 will be upmixed. Everything below 400 will be back to stereo to keep your system safe. So in that instance, your male vocals will be a split image, might be a little diffused, things like that. But at least it's still upmixed and mostly two-seatable, for like a daily, hey, my wife doesn't have to sit with the image smashed over to the right window,
Yeah.
So I know Sydney was very happy when she heard Dan Merritt's car with the upmixer. That'll be at Aggieland too. In case you do come, Bobby, you'll get to hear.
That's the good
Thanos.
shit.
It's a good one, really good one. I mean, it makes my car sound not that great, honestly. But Sydney heard when I was still tuning it. It lived in my garage for a couple weeks, and I'm still tuning it. And she got to hear it, and I was just like, "This thing is stupid." And she sat in the passenger seat. She's like, "Why doesn't your car sound like this?" Okay.
Oh, wow! You're single now. Crazy. It doesn't need to sound like anything in the passenger seat.
So,
damn, bro.
Yeah, the upmixers are super cool. You just got to have the right system design, and tuning them isn't straight. Like it takes a little bit of knowledge. Like my first one ever was Dan Merritt's car, and it's like you sit there, and I had 2 max arrays in this thing, and all the maxes that I've done, all the max tunes, and it's just like, this is a lot, because everything that you do in this seat negatively affects the other seat. It's kind of like what Drew was talking about with the 6th orders. Like every single thing you do on one side affects the other, and you have to be very careful what you do. And then once you align,
were you doing that with 2 maxes and all that shit, or what?
I had a max in each seat. Yeah,
savage.
So,
and it's like, how many times were you like, oh, okay, oh, what the fuck? Oh, I did it the wrong spot. Oh my god, I've done the last 4 things I've done in the wrong spot, motherfuck! And you're like, go back up. God damn it! There's no undo. There should be a fucking undo. There's undo in design software, but you can't like undo what I just did in fucking.
There is undo on JL software though.
There is undo.
There's a back button that's it holds the last 300 changes or something like that.
God damn it!
300. That's crazy. It's not 300. It's like
it is. There's a lot. It's hundreds. It's hundreds.
Jerry was with me one day. Jerry Eastman was here, and I was tuning the van one day, and I have a pretty long cable, and we put the max in, and I sat right here, and I was tuning the van from right here. I was like, and I'm talking to Jerry. This is this, and that is that. This is why I'm doing this, and I'm like, and I'd be like, oh fuck, what did I do? And I'd like fix shit, and like, oh okay, cool. But I mean, if I would have found the back button, that would have been.
Yup, you'll have that on them big jobs though.
Yeah, but no, it was pretty cool.
Yabbering nonstop, talking about what I'm doing and why, and what the fuck I understand and what I don't, and like super distracted because,
you'll have that.
So, yeah.
Oh, Matt says over 100. Whatever. See, I knew it.
Over 100.
You know why?
What is Matt? Matt doesn't know much about jail.
Certified. I was the second one to get Mac certified. Damn it, David.
I'll be the second one at my shop.
I mean, you might be the second one in the state.
I don't know. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's pull up the certification list. What do you think?
Oh, there is. Yeah, there is.
Let's
tuning.
I'm gonna cut early. You guys could have a good rest of your show. I'm gonna go get some grub. I'm starving. I've not eaten all day, so.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Bye. Go load those fucking subwoofers, man.
Yeah, they'll be in tomorrow.
Sick.
Guaranteed.
So maybe I'll give you a demo. All right. Later.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. Yep.
But yeah, no, I think you'll. We just got to get you in touch with Todd and get you some of those. I hope that we can bring in a few and sell them. So
why would you do that?
Sweet.
What are you trying to do that for? Don't do that.
What?
Tune your box to the FS of a sub, because you probably don't know the real FS of that sub. You know the 1 watt FS, and that's not the FS of that sub.
Yes. Or if you're running 1 watt, fucking have at it.
Right? Facts.
Yeah.
So it'll be the best 1 watt you've ever had.
Yeah.
Every SQ demo prior to me meeting the mobile toys guys, 1 watt.
I bet.
Only way to learn is to ask. That is correct, sir. That is correct.
16, 17, 18.
But no, there's so FS, the free air resonance of the driver is you get that number from running using a dash, whatever, to pull TS. That's done off of 1 watt normally, maybe 2 or 3, right? Very small power. Most subs, and especially like our market, they have what's called progressive suspensions. So as they move further and further, they stiffen and tighten to maintain cone control, which causes an absolutely huge FS spike, which is that. So if you ever hear a Sundown sub, like a Z series with the black spiders, they don't have that like snap or that real hard distortion at the top end. It sounds like a punch. That's what you're hearing. You're hearing that spike in FS, and a lot of people like it. They love it. They love the way it sounds. That's why a lot of people say Sundown subs sound weird, because they don't have that. So the 1 watt measurements of these subs and speakers, like, they're good starting points for some of the parameters, but most of them are completely out the window by watt number 7. That's why you get guys like Bobby build and test and build and test and build and test. That's why their stuff ends up ahead of everybody else's. What's up?
But watt 1 through 6, it was really good.
Ooh, buddy, matches
Right.
the it matches
6.5 watts. I mean, like,
yeah, it matches the graph on WinISD perfectly. Like, I've never seen a soul with WinISD out at World Finals. Never, not once.
Yeah.
The best way to learn about design is to build, test, build, test, build, test.
That's the part that I miss about SPL, because in sound quality, there's this whole thing of, I'm just going to tune it out of the processor. I'm just going to, there's an issue, I'm just going to out-tune it. I mean, I really, really have a ton of respect for SPL guys and, guys that have to build and test, because that's the only way to get it to perform better, no matter what you're doing in audio. It doesn't matter if you're building the highest end SQ vehicle in the world or something that's going to put up a 187, whenever that day is going to be. You have to build, test, build, test, build, test.
I'm going to keep this up on the screen right here for a little longer. This DD stopped using TS specs a decade before Blake was born. So I'm guessing Blake is probably somewhere in his early 20s. So, and DD, without DD, we wouldn't be building subwoofers the way that we build them now.
No, they were absolutely like, that was the first loud thing I've heard. Was
way the fuck ahead of everybody.
Yeah, Brett was doing 60s on music with kinetic 2400s. Yeah, that's how long ago that was. Yeah, I mean, I said, just obviously specs are important, but they're not wrong. They're inaccurate in the way we use them. It's like the amplifier measurements I'm doing. Jeffrey's not using his HD 1200. No, you have what big amps you have? He's not using his RD 1500s at 5 watts. I promise you that. I've seen those W7s move. So what gives a 5 watt distortion measurement?
Look, you've seen those W7s move at 9 hertz. It's 1 watt, dude. That's it.
What do you think the best enclosure tuning? There is no best.
The tune frequency plays
it's actually
very little role in the bandwidth, because you can have your 18-inch woofer and you can be tuned at the fucking guys are like, I want to be tuned at 31, I want to be tuned at 29 hertz. I get it fucking every day. Hey bro, can I get that same box, but can you tune it to fucking 29 because I want to play 29? That's not how that fucking works. It's not how it works. You can be tuned at 29 hertz with a 3-inch port on your 18-inch sub, and it'll sound like horrific shit. And you can be tuned at 29 hertz with fucking 250 inches of port area. Also, will sound like shit. But if you have just the right amount of fucking port area, which is probably somewhere between 80 and 100, depending on your fucking 18, you are tuned to 35 or even as high as 40, you probably could still play 29 hertz. And it's going to be just fine. So these guys that think that they need to be, I want it tuned to, like, stop. Just fucking stop. Like, if that was a good idea, I would have designed that fucking box that way when I engineered the motherfucker a long time ago.
So Bobby,
Dylan.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You the guest. You the guest. Go.
But Bobby, I had that happen at the shop literally a couple days ago. So a customer called in and was like, "Hey, I need you guys to build a box, but I won't buy it unless it's tuned at 25."
Nope.
And I said, "Okay."
You'd be like, "We're not building shit for you. Go fuck yourself. You're an idiot." And I would be so harsh. I'd be like, "I'm not interested in your project at all." That's really what I would say, just like that. And I'd hang up the phone, and then I'd probably say to Allison, "Can you believe the fucking moronic shit I hear from these assholes every day? Like, why the fuck? If you want your 25 hertz tuning stupid fucking box, go build that shit yourself if you know so well. Like, why the fuck did you call me? Like, you're paying a whole bunch more for my knowledge and my experience." Like, literally, probably 15, 18 years ago, I would have been all, okay. And they'd been all, "That sounds like shit." And everybody that hear it would sound like, "Well, that sounds like shit. It does. It sounds like shit." And they'd have this whole conversation. And then I look like an asshole because I built this stupid fucking thing because somebody said so. So, yeah, fuck that.
The long and short of it is I went around for 15 minutes explaining why, tuning at 25 isn't the end all to be all. And in fact, you could probably tune to 35 and still get those low notes.
You'd still play 25 with authority.
Yeah.
Better than you would with that exact same box tuned to 25.
Yeah. I was like, dude, and I didn't go into the super technical terms, but I was just like, dude, if you put the box or the sub in the wrong kind of box where, not enough space inside the box, it's just going to choke it. You're not going to play those low notes anyways. So why don't you let us do our job? I'll put a special note in there to tune it as low as humanly possible. And I will
build it in a way so that it plays down to 25 hertz with authority. Yeah. And he was probably asking about a fucking box for a single 10.
It was actually a 4. It was originally a 6/8 box, and I talked him into a 4/8 box with a 3.5-inch seat lift.
Yeah.
So
now we're talking.
25 hertz for his 4/8.
Yeah. Fuck. I know the treating calculator is. It's another one. I mean, it's another one of those. It's better than nothing, but it's not better than building. No calculator ever will be. So go build something. Build something. Go build something and send me pictures.
Build something that has a removable, rebuildable port assembly. And let's say you're building a box for a single 12 or a single 15-inch sub. Build that thing so that the enclosure volume is right about in the middle of the range of that woofer should work in. Let's say it's a pretty badass high performance 15-inch woofer, and their recommended specs say 3.5 to 4.5 feet. Build that box at 4 cubic feet, brace the shit out of it, make it solid, make it so that you can have a bolt on with a flange removable port assembly, and you can adjust the volume by making the port intrude more or less into the enclosure, and you can play around with the port area and tuning by changing the length and how much length is in and how much length is out of that enclosure. Right. And just sit there playing with that fucking thing, and you might find.
You gotta play with that thing.
And and so like here's my version of we get to almost cheat here at Gately Audio. I make like 8 different single 12 boxes. So when we want to test a sub in a vehicle, we can take that sub and put it in and out all the different fucking boxes and listen. Also, hey, you know what? Cars are going to change the shit too. You might find that in one fucking car that this sub works really well in the 1.75 ported enclosure. But in this other fucking car that doesn't really look all that different, it's also a car that's mid-sized and has a trunk. For some reason, the fucking 2.0 or even the 2.25 did significantly better, where in that other car, it didn't perform as well as the 1.75. You will fucking find that shit. So, yeah.
Here's a question for you. While I dig for this picture of Jeffrey doing something.
Jeffrey, what? Jeffrey doing what?
I'm digging for a picture. I said, Bobby. I said, y'all can answer this one while I dig for these photos.
Okay, so no, that's not a fact at all. Actually,
Especially with airports.
Yeah, it's not significant. I have seen vehicles like Tahoes with a big slot port across the bottom, and you close that back hatch, and it is, and the top area is smaller than the fucking port area of the box. And guys were concerned, but he was still making all of his numbers in a burp configuration. It didn't have shit ass of a difference where everybody was concerned. So he went to all this work, and he dismounted his amp rack, and he flopped his back seat forward, and he scooted his amp rack, and he pushed that box like 6 inches back, and his numbers literally didn't change at all. Now, I was dead sure that we were going to see a difference of some form or another. I was absolutely sure, because I've also seen where in the trunk of a car, my buddy Glenn in the back of his Audi, and he would scoot that box around and change angles, and he could change everything about how that thing made output at different frequencies by scooting that box around in his trunk at different spots. So I was dead sure when this Tahoe with 3 fucking 18s in it, when he scooted that thing back 6 inches away from the gate, it was going to completely change, and it made minimal. If it was a 10th, I was amazed. So it really, I mean, look at so another thing that you can think of is often in a lot of builds, in these guys will have a downfire configuration. This sub will be so fucking close to the floor that it will touch the fucking carpet a little bit, not a lot. And it must have some effect on it, but it's never. John's naked.
Everyone's just like,
Does the carpet match the drapes today with your purple beard? But does it make a significant difference? I mean, if the fucking woofer is impacting, but if the surrounds are very gently touching that carpet, even if you see a little fucking ring on it, it doesn't seem to sound a whole lot different. You get like, oh man, I'm worried about that. You fucking prop that shit up a little bit, and you're like, it still seems to sound the same. So how wrong can it fucking be? You know what I mean? So anyway, so it's really the only way to fucking really know is that you actually see that be a difference. So with, for example, this if you go, yeah, here's my slot port across the bottom of my box in the back of my SUV, and that motherfucking box is 1.25 inches away from that back wall, and there's no way it's the same port area as the box, and you listen to it and you do some testing, and then you collect a little bit of data, and then you push that fucking box back to your double the distance of the port, and then you test it. That's the only fucking way to really know. And I'll tell you something, unless it's an almost identical box in an almost identical vehicle, that rule of thumb is completely out the fucking window. So there's that. We were a lot closer to each other moments before that, but we had to cool off a little bit. It was getting pretty hot.
No, I was. I knew I had that photo. I wasn't sure where it was, but I was pulling these photos up. So the other picture was my laptop and all that stuff just set up on the bench because Jeffrey logged in and tuned the truck remotely. I was like, I've got a lot of time in the truck. Like, it's really good. I was like, have at it, man. Like, let's because that's how me and Jeffrey met. Was he remote tuned something long ago before we had maxes and stuff, and it sounded good.
Mic.
On a single mic. It looked like Harry Potter waving that shit around my head, bro, like a goober. But
it's terrible. By today's standards, I would say that it was probably one of the worst tunes I've ever heard.
He told me, so I found pictures of it, and he told me delete the pictures, make those pictures go away. I don't want proof I did that.
No, so I thought of a really good way to use the JL mics of the Max connected to your own head. So you tuck one into each nostril and you hold one in your mouth and you tuck one into each ear and then you sit in the vehicle and tune.
Okay, Barney.
That's the fucking way.
But yeah, so he tuned the truck. This was in October. It was,
No,
it was
November,
October 17th. October 17th. 10/17. I got pulled up. Now I like the tune still. Like, I'm running my daily tune that I sit in, but I mean that tune that he did remotely was leaps and bounds better than anything I had done up until like middle last year. It was good. It's like, dang.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is we didn't even do my full tuning process with you, Drew. I just took some of those values that I've memorized, and like, so I do a tune, and then I've got a couple things that I do that's not public information, and I do those couple small things based on what I do every single day at Mobile Toys, and I just applied that to Drew's truck, and I was just like, I don't know, go listen to it. I'm signing off. I'm getting off here.
I mean, that's my favorite type of stage. Like, all right, we're gonna try this. Go tell me what happens. I can do.
Like that's the thing that I would like to touch on. If we have a second on it. The problem that I have is that I've heard some, you know, I get messages all the time like, how do I know that this remote tune is going to be, you know, like, I thought in-person tuning is the way to go. Well, yeah, but when you see these trends over and over, right? If like Bobby, you've done tons of tunes. If you do a tune and then you get in the vehicle and then you make a change, and then let's just say maybe you do, maybe you don't. Let's just say you put the mics back in and then you saw that change on the screen and you saw what that change was. Well, wouldn't it make logical sense if you just made all your tunes look like that, whatever that was on the screen? And then you do exactly that on your next tune, and you get in and it's like, I don't have to touch it. It's good. Well, when you do that 200 or 300 times, then all of a sudden you realize like, oh, I could do this remote. I don't have to go listen to it to get a good.
Very similar, like Bobby, me putting a box together and designing it. Even just look at a box, and I can tell you if it's gonna work or not. I don't got to hear it. I just look at it. Like, no, or
no. Like you look at it and you're like, what sub is this for? And then people are like, oh, I'm using a DC level 4 in that. You're like, oh, okay, good. It's gonna be fine. And they're like, oh, I'm gonna put a ZV6 in that. You're like, no, you're not gonna be okay. Yeah, you're like, that's not.
Yeah, you do something enough.
Like, oh, I have an X. Be like, an X is gonna work okay in that. It's gonna be okay.
What's her name?
Yeah. So I now I build speaker boxes for a minute until I'm happy again.
Yep, but not Jeffrey. Like that's why I have full confidence in your remote tuning. I mean, I would put your remote tuning over most shops and like spend a week on it tuning.
Well,
all day.
I
would twice on Tuesday.
And I would say that like, you know, if we're doing a really high end build, we're using fucking high end speakers, we're making badass pillars, and we're sound deadening the shit out of the vehicle. You know, these customers, they're spending $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 real fucking fast. If you have a full size truck and you have, you know, VXI or MVI amps and the whole fucking thing. If I'm like, hey, I want you to spend like 500 more, and we're also gonna have Jeff tune it. I also want to do my tune and Tyson's tune and me and Tyson's tune and then fucking Jeff's tune. And then we listen to all of that shit and we figure out what sounds different. And we see what Jeff does. And I see what Tyson does. And Tyson sees, and I go, oh, I would do this here. I wouldn't do that there. You know, and we have these whole conversations. There's so many different ways to do all of this shit. And we learn a little bit from one another. You know, when we were at the class, you know, all learning together, we're discussing, I would do it this way. Shit, Matt and Jeff looked like they wanted to have a fucking fist fight over the process of how to tune the fucking.
Bro, that is every fucking day.
I was like Matt's like, no, and we don't, and this is the way, and you can't tell me that this, and it was like, I was like, I'm pretty sure you guys are both really good at this shit, and we should all learn everybody's way. Like if it was like, hey guys, let me show you how I tune, and I went up there and I was doing it, like a few of the guys there would be like, oh, that's a kind of interesting process of how I would do that or how I would make that adjustment. And if, you know, and as we get all the way up to the guy with the most experience, Jeff, then everybody's going to learn a whole bunch more.
Jeff who?
But it would be,
So
yes.
I have a comment on it. I think that Matt's way is a lot more teachable. But like I said, a lot of my methods, the whole reason that my car is what it is, and the whole reason that total tuning is what it is because the same methodology. I did X, Y, and Z thing, and it got this result. And so I repeat that. So regardless if that's the way that, you know, Matt teaches it, I don't care about that particular line on the phase graph because I know what that's going to do. And I know that if it looks this way, it's going to sound this way because I've done it so many hundreds of times. So
you know whether that phase thing's going to do anything or not, right?
Most of the time I can look at it and I can go, this matters or not. But, you know, my point is that Matt's way is very, very great for teaching because it's very repeatable. My way is way more convoluted. It's like, you know, my way is like
you might have something that looks just like something Matt would be fixing, and you're like, nope, not fixing. But then you might also have something in certain vehicles that you go, nope, I don't have to think about that shit. And it might look identical to me, be like, no, you looks just like the other one that I think like, oh, because this, and this. No, you don't. And then that's right. Am I right? There's certain, because now there have been times where, you know, me and Tyson, because the less all pass filters than we can have, the better. Because a lot of times I'm like, that didn't help at all, so take it back off. Like it made zero difference to me and everything that we listened to about it. So if it's doing nothing, then I don't want it there. And he's like, but it's this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And he's like, they show this. I'm like, I know, but my ears say this, so get that shit the fuck out of there. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, but I would. And I'm like, it's my van. He's like, oh, okay. I'm like, come on, my van, driving away now. Like, you know, so
they're like, I'm leaving, thank you.
Yeah, so there is now. We definitely had a couple things where it was like, you know, oh fuck, okay, that does sound just a little bit smoother. There was something a little fucky that all pass filter fixed. So definitely leave that motherfucker right there. But it also looked very fucking pronounced, like a big ass mess on the screen to us. It was like, oh, and when we go boop and it's fixed, that was really cool. You know, when it's less definitive, oftentimes it's really not doing much of anything at all that I notice. So.
Yeah, like I said, I took his process and I made it my own, and I think everyone should do that with everything that they do, because if you copy someone, all you're gonna get is, you know, exactly what they could get. You're not going to get better than them. But let's see, I'm reading Matt's thing.
What he's saying is you can't do better than him, so don't even try, bud.
Yeah, that's what he said for sure.
That's what he said.
I interpreted that.
Yeah, that's what he
I
said.
see right there. He's like, bitch, you don't want the smoke.
And you're right. I don't.
No, I like I said, I think everyone needs to learn a process, which, you know, Jail's process is very well lined out. Mine's not. Mine has all this like spider web of if this then that situations, and I do it in my head, and I'm like, I'm gonna do exactly this, and just furiously typing. And Jail's way is just very like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, great, you did a great job. You know, so like it's important. Way better. Yep. It's way better for everyone else. It's just I know I feel confident with the methods that I use, and that's all that's important. If you get great results, then that's really what the purpose is, you know? So, but no, what Drew didn't mention earlier on the truck thing is that Matt and I actually did tunes on his truck. So I did a tune and then he logged in and did a tune. So we're actually going to be hearing those tunes in person.
Yes, you will. Because I saved them
at Aggieland. Yeah. So at Aggieland, when Drew shows up on Friday, or probably knowing him, it'll probably be Thursday.
This right here, we're gonna, actually.
It has a 10-minute tune, I guess. Yeah. So, and the 10-minute tune from Jail. Again, Jail has so many, good teaching materials, and the 10-minute tune is one of them. I mean, doing a 10-minute tune is critical. And if I could get every single, person to do a 10-minute tune, yeah, where do I sign? I mean, so you don't have to do crazy max tunes. But
what was he talking about? We're doing at the what? What we doing on Friday?
We're listening to the tunes. We're comparing my tune and Matt's tune with Matt if he's here. I don't know if Matt's showing up for Aggieland, but if he's not, then we'll just we'll listen to him and then we'll make fun of him. That's all. So, I'm a truck tune in one day. College Station 4-hour drive for me. Yeah, I mean, Steven, I do tunes in like a VXI tune takes me 30 to 40 minutes, and that's me going slow. I've done a VXI tune in under 10, like a really good VXI tune.
It's kind of cheating, because it's my truck, but I've like start to finish, delete the tune and restart, get it back to where it is now in like 25.
Yeah, but the problem is when you do non-jail DSPs, you have to hand do all the EQs. So like a Helix, Moscone, Arc, and eventually other processors when I get comfortable with them, those take me 1.5 to 2 hours because I'll hand EQ every single thing and all that, nonsense. Where JL, I can just go, align please, go, shoop.
Thank you.
And, and like it, so like I can spend. Like say I allot 3 hours of time for a tune. If I'm tuning Arc, Moscone, or Helix, I've got 45 minutes to listen to this thing and 15 minutes to clean up my stuff, versus JL, I've got 2 hours to play with this after I spend 20 minutes setting up and 10 minutes talking to the customer and goofing off and eating my breakfast taco. Okay, I'll go ahead and knock out the tune real quick. And,
that's one of my
2 hours to listen to it.
That's been one of my biggest things about the JL processors, and specifically, obviously what you're doing is you're not scared to try something because you might delete it. You can do whatever.
I mean, honestly, I make jokes about it now. When I go do another tune, I'm like, yay, I get to do another EQ simulation game, and I just sit here and EQ the thing. Like, I don't want to EQ anymore. I want to, get to phase, and I want to get to listening. I want to do that portion, when I'm doing these in-person tunes. I don't need to do EQ simulator for the 800th time, So that's one of the reasons why I'm one of the reasons that I love tuning JL products is because of the tight integration with Max. So.
Oh yeah, but that's the point.
That is the point.
But you mentioned tuning other processors, and me doing that remote tune in the shop. I've basically only touched JL since getting the JL stuff, just because I have a choice of what I run, so I can do it right.
Jeff, can you tune Steven's Audison DSP?
So I'll tell a quick story about a customer that I've already tried to tune their Audison. And I made a deal with that customer recently. So he drove from El Paso with his Audison, didn't have a laptop, didn't have a cord, didn't have ever logged into his processor, just drove in with a fresh install and showed up and was like, hey, I'm here. I'm like, okay, well, where's all your stuff? He's like, I don't have it. Okay, cool. I'll download the program and try and use this random cord that I have that plugs into your product, and it wouldn't sync. It wouldn't pull up. He's like, well, it's supposed to pull up. I'm like, well, I can't help you, dude. I tune these specific processors because I know them like the back of my hand. So moving forward, the fast forward 3 months later, he called me again. He's like, hey, I know we had a rough start that one time, will you give it another shot? I'm like, dude, I'll tell you what, I'll give it a shot and I'll be happy to learn on that one. because tuning's the same. It's just learning that processor's GUI, you know, and some ins and outs and some quirks with all the processors, because every processor has their quirk. And so, you know, basically I told him like, hey, look, I will give it another shot, but you're going to have to bring a computer and plug in your cord, and you're going to have to promise me that you've logged into this thing prior to me scheduling another slot, because I'll be honest, I'm pretty well booked out on the tune stuff and I'm grateful for it, but losing that 4-hour slot, I'm not going to charge you. But it's kind of frustrating when I schedule that slot, and it's frustrating for you driving from El Paso. Like, just plug in, make sure it works, and then drive to me. Then we're good, you know? So, like, all you got to do is plug in, make sure it works.
So you're willing to tune any DSP that you know, over time as you get comfortable with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tune any processor.
So if a company were to send you their DSP, would you take the time to learn it as you had time?
Yeah.
To offer that
absolutely.
service for them?
I'll set up a test bench. It's not a problem. The biggest thing is, and I said it earlier, I don't want to have failure. I don't want to, one, send out my Macs and waste my time, waste your time, you know, and I want your end result to be perfect. That's why I spent 300 plus tunes before I was even willing to entertain the idea of a remote tune, because I wanted it to be perfect. That's just my personality. You know, and I think that having the mentality of, oh, I could probably do it, or I could do it good enough, or, you know, like whatever, that's not the right mentality. It needs to be freaking perfect. Someone's paying you for your time, and there's a reason for it. So, you know, if there's, you know, other processors, like I know John Kane, he's mentioned I can, you know, log in and tune on the Audison with him. And I definitely plan to one day. Just, you know, life gets by us, right?
You gotta have time.
But you know, I believe, life goes. But I absolutely want to learn more processors, and I want to expand the processors that I tune for, because I get tons of, you know, Dayton, tons of Audison, tons of all these requests in my inbox. I'm like, guys, I would love to tune it. It's not, you know, this mystical art form, like Matt said. It's just science. It's just understanding what the graph says and doing it. And the processor doesn't change that. It doesn't matter if it says Moscone or JL or Helix or ARC or any of those other ones. It just has to be the right lines on the right graph, with the microphone set up the right way, with the right signal noise that you're tuning with, and then you get in and it's probably going to be pretty good. So I would love to tune other processors, but I don't want to offer that totally remote. I would do it with a friend, like, hey, you know, Bobby, like, you had a processor there, and I would do it with you, but I won't do it with a paying customer, because I don't think that's fair. They're paying for expertise. They're not paying for learning, you know? So.
Yeah, but you're learning.
I often will tell customers, like, you can pay me to figure that shit out if you want, you know? And we'll just work through it until we got it. But, like, it's going to cost you a bunch of money. I mean, you know, I have a couple projects right now that I'm like, I don't even know exactly how the fuck I'm going to do that. I know I can do that, right? Just like what you're saying. So you might have a customer that's like, you know, what do you a couple $100 an hour? You got to spend a couple extra hours to figure it out. I don't fucking care. I don't care if my tune is, you know, $800 or $900 or $1,000 instead of $400 or $500, because I want you to do this. And then I'm cool with you being able to make your money and having other customers be able to have that service. They're like biting the bullet for you, because some people spending $500 or spending $1,000, it makes zero difference to them, because they have so much goddamn money, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a project at my shop right now, and the customer, like, handed off this car to me, dropped off like $30,000 to start. And he's like, I want you to do things you've never done before all the way through this whole thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, just like, if it takes you longer to build this shit all crazy because it's fucking crazy, I want you to do that. And so, like, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna, like, I call him up and I'm like, this is the idea I'm thinking of on your doors. He's like, that sounds great. I'm like, it's gonna be a motherfucker, and so it's gonna be expensive. And he's like, yes. I'm like,
run that shit.
All right. And I'm like, I want to do this crazy infinite baffle thing in the back, and you want to have your back seats be functional, so I need to make this steel and I want to do it all like this, and it's some shit I've never seen before. And he's like, fucking sick, do it. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be. And he's like, I don't care how expensive, just fucking do it. I have money.
Yeah.
And that's fucking awesome. So you might also have that as you go, look, do you want to be the fucking guy that pays me to sort that shit out? You know what I mean? And they pay you a little extra. You go, well, you're doing a DSP I've never done before. It costs you $200 extra. And they go, all right. You go, cool. And you're like, I'm gonna go in on that shit. I'm gonna figure it out. Or they pay you for an hour of your time to be studying that software before. You go, all right, I spent an hour or two fucking studying all of this shit before you even got here. So I have a big ass head start. And you have you've made sure you've contacted their tech support. You schedule their thing so that you can get in touch with Audison's tech support in that moment. I'm gonna touch on this real quick. It really fucking is. It's super fucking nice.
Honestly, yeah, dude. I mean, like,
it is the shit. Actually,
nice.
like, in case you were wondering,
like
fuck around and find out. It might be really fucking nice. Actually, it is. It's the shit. It's cool.
And then to have boys who also it is nice. Yeah, that is also
fucking A. Isn't it fucking nice, Jeff?
Nice.
Nah,
fucking super nice.
I definitely think that there's a world the world that I would move on to other processors. It would either have to be a friend remotely, or it would have to be, someone in person, and they would have to at least, say, hey, I've synced into this thing. Like, once I'm into it, I can figure it out. Like we've tuned a couple Museway processors in the shop. Not a fan of them, but my point is I didn't need some kind of a training class on it. I plugged right in. I'm like, okay, it took me 30 minutes to get it open and get it connected. And then as soon as I'm in there, I'm like, okay, just to tune the thing, right? So the hardest part about most of these processors is getting connected and making sure that, the controls are doing what they're doing. For instance, Hertz processors, I know, if you don't press this certain function to like send it to the processor, it's just gone forever. And now JL has that too, but it's an orange button that lights up in your face, not a one hidden behind 3 different menus,
Mm-hmm.
And so so Helix is a save button. Moscone automatically loads on the processor. You could unplug that, you could yank that guy out at any time and it's there. So that's the cool part about Moscone. John Kane mentioned it, finalize. But having that secret menu in there, you could spend 2 hours doing a tune, go, okay, cool, unplug, it's just like a Moscone. No, it's gone. You didn't hit finalize. So I'm not willing to learn on those things. I want someone to at least be able to tell me, everything except for the tuning portion. Like, hey, you need to hit the finalize button. You need to use this chord. Yep. You need to, have this software update downloaded, because that was the Museway problem. I had the wrong one on my computer, and it was like, what? I spent 20 minutes finding the right one because they didn't have it on their website. It was so silly,
Unacceptable.
I had that with a B2 DSP. It arrived, and they were like the brand new ones that had just come. It was the new batch of them. Well, they needed new software to run them. And I was like trying to use the previous, and I'm like, what in the fuck? And like, thankfully, even though it was like 10 o'clock at night, I was like harassing fucking Jay Holm and Andrew Showers. And they're like, what in the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, dude, this shit isn't working. And I'm trying to tune this thing, and it's trying to drive out of here in the morning. Like,
help.
And I'm fucked. I'm like, I need you to help me. I'm sorry I'm harassing you on your personal numbers, but fucking dude, oh shit. Yeah, let me send that to you. Nobody has that yet. I'm like, fucker. I'm like, well, you weren't even supposed to have that fucking DSP yet. Like, those weren't supposed, they're not released. You just happened to be at Sky High, and there was a fucking pallet of them, and you took 4 of them, and now you're putting them in customers. I'm like, oh shit, my bad. And so they send it to me, and I put the shit in, and then fucking, and it's like, oh wow, it's completely different than the previous one. Fuck. And like, but yeah, that's how that shit works. I understand.
It'd be like that sometimes. Generally speaking, there are certain controls that we know, Matt. But so I'm gonna get a company to send you a DSP to learn, so you can start doing some remote tuning for them.
I'm totally happy to learn any processor. That's one of my jobs as owner of Total Tuning. I'm going to have to expand my processors, but again, the quality control is my number one thing. So up until the point where I've tried it, at least 10 times, I won't even entertain it. I'm going to do it in person, and it's either going to be by myself with a not paying customer, like, on something that I've set up, or it's going to be on like a friend's deal, or it's going to be a paying customer that has logged into their stuff before and can get me to where I can start messing with the same controls that are on every processor, like, the EQs, the high pass, low pass, delay, like that's all common between all the processors. Not all pass filters though. Fun fact, all pass filters aren't on every processor.
No, they're not on most, actually. But they are on.
We're not going to do the fucking shitaholic fucking DSP.
No, we're not doing the shitaholic. All pass filters are on the EZ DSP from downtown. I checked. Can't confirm.
Yeah.
So I asked price. I said, sorry, you first.
I just wanted to comment on the all pass filter thing. So if you want it, we can do yours and circle back.
I asked price. I said, I was like, how bad do you think I think I said it in the note chat too. It's like, how bad do you think the initial like tech support rush is going to be from a whole bunch of people who have never touched a DSP ever to trying to use one?
Yeah,
I think it'd be tough.
So
that was it.
Quickly touching on all pass filters, I'll give everyone a great example. So one of the reasons that I don't like tuning processors that don't have all pass filters is, like, if you have the speakers super far away from each other, say a mid bass and a door and a dash mid range, the phase angle is going to be drastically different on the lower part of the mid range. And so you might have these extra phase wraps, because I've had people say, even Matt said, well, can't you just add some delay to it? Yeah, you can, kind of. It's more applicable in the lower frequencies, but a lot of the times there's a critical region right around 500 hertz where we start to become more sensitive to, other things besides phase. And that's one of those things that, I've noticed. You've got these really, really long slopes on the mid-range phase and really sharp slopes on the mid-bass phase. And if you don't have an all-pass filter, you just do a matching all-pass filter right where that wrap is, and all of a sudden you're mid-bass or summing to your mid-range beautifully. But if you don't have all-pass filters, you can't do that. Another great example is subwoofers. How many times, Bobby, have you seen mid-bass that run out of gas on the bottom end? You're like below 80 hertz and they start just not following the trace. Well, what does that do to the phase trace? It rises it up. Okay. So, well, what do you do with the subwoofer? You flip it out of phase and you apply an all-pass filter below it, and it shifts the phase trace up so it goes with the mid-bass that can't meet the trace. Like, all-pass filters you can't do that with delay. You have to have the all-pass filter to do that.
Yeah, you tell them. You tell them.
Well,
we don't know what the phase wrap looks like because the mid-bass run out of fuel. What?
No, well, they actually showed us a little bit of that, and that was something that Tyson was dealing with in my van when we went from the 8s of the doors to the 6.5s in the doors. It didn't have as much.
Flip it out of what, Jeffrey? Just to be clear,
flip it out
polarity. Flip it out of polarity.
Yeah,
I wonder. I bet there's a DSP company that fucking has the terminology backwards on purpose, so that it's worded differently. Or they have one word is phase and it's wrong, and that's for polarity, and then they have something different for polarity. They're all positive, negative firing or some fucked up thing. Because that's one of the things that drives me fucking nuts is like, what are they talking about in here? What do they mean? Like, you're like, what in the fuck what is the word that I'm looking for? Finalize. Be done with that shit. Like, what in the fuck are we, like, or you could, it should have like a button, like you scroll over the button and it says, and it's the finalize button, and it should have like a drop down in JL, it's like uploaded to the fucking DSP. And in this other brand, it would be this. That brand, it would be that. You have like not a glossary of fucking at the end of the book for the words, the terms, Yeah. So that you understand what the fuck you're supposed to be doing at that point. Or maybe even like simple instructions. Step 1, do this. Step 1, do that. Step 2, step 3. And at the end, make sure you do this. Yes, a legend, Jerry. Thank you.
An index.
Yes, an index. Yes, or a legend. Yeah, fuck. See, there it is. Different fucking term. Good job, Jerry.
So I think one of Matt's favorite thing to do is correct me.
Give you shit.
When I
Oh
say
yes,
things. Yeah, that's one of his favorite things. But don't worry, we fight like an old married couple, but we're still friends.
Ugh.
So
annoying.
You
need a DSP
translator. Yeah. That's your that's a thing that you could put out, Drew.
I mean, I'm end up doing probably a good amount of videos for Down for Sound, kind of walking through a bunch of the DSP stuff, because like I said, like, it's a lot to people who have never touched it. I get it. So actually, I looked back today, 11 years ago today, I posted on Facebook that Taylor Gardner and Matt Sibley were. I was like, oh, we can finally get my front stage together. And even 11 years ago, I had a 360.3 DSP, a PA 800 PRS. I mean, that was already deep into the learning how to use DSP and stuff. Like, that's how long I've been doing it, trying to figure it out. So I mean, I definitely get it that it can seem like a lot if you've never looked at it. I feel that.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I gotta drive home and I'm hungry, so. All right. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. You guys want to keep on talking to these kids? You are welcome to do so. But I'm
at least stay on until I finish editing this little render until I start this print. So,
right on. Thanks for being on, Jeff. I'm stoked for what you don't need any good luck. You're doing a great job with that shit already, and we'll look forward to doing more tunes with you in the future. All the rest of you guys, go fix your fucking engine noise.
This is about to become This is about to become a Max Chat live stream. We're about to get everybody in here. I'm about to drop a link in the chat.
Okay. Handle that shit. I'll see you guys next week.
Yep. See you, Bobby.
Later. All right. Let's see if they join. Well, I'll start changing logos. What DSPs have all pass? Helix, JL, some of them. Down for Sound.
Some of JL's Down for Sound, basically the ones that I publicly tune right now, and then probably a couple others. Like I'm pretty sure the Audisons, John Kane might comment in. I think the Audisons have all pass. I don't think Hertz does. I know Dayton doesn't. I know Museway does not. I know
Alpine doesn't.
Alpine doesn't. But I do like the Alpine one. So ironically, the two processors that I like the most that don't have all pass filters are the JL Tweak and the Alpine. I think that those are overall great.
You'll like the Down for Sound one, the Down for Sound processor. Someone posted a picture, a screenshot. Well, they posted it to a page. It looks just like the Down for Sound software, but it says Alpine. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, the cool one with the Alpine is, one of the people at the shop, he owns the Alpine processor, and no audio control. He owns the Alpine processor, and we were just tuning it on his iPad, like totally wireless. I thought that was really cool. It was a little cumbersome, like, you need to use this stupid slider to get 643 hertz. Like, I want to type it in, dude. Like, so I still prefer the. It was the Alpine.
The Down someone you can type it in. Audio control now has all pass. I mean, that's great. I'm gonna all pass that bitch into a dumpster. So I have a dude driving from Tennessee. Actually, I have someone who watches the show driving from Tennessee, so I can tune his Mustang. And he's got he got Gately subs, like a Salt 6, like pretty cool little system. And he's audio control in it. He will not have audio control when he gets here. He'll have a VXI taking the place of audio control and his other amp, because he currently is running. He has a 3-way set. He's running passive. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, nope, that's got to go.
I
Like,
could
we're going
literally
active.
make stock speakers sound better active than a 3-way passive.
Yeah, like he asked like how big of a difference it would be going from the passive to the active. I'm like, it's hard to explain how big the jump is. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
When doing IB, can you just have one big vent that is? I don't know shit about no IB. I don't know
I
anything
think
about it. Infinite
Jason
bathroom.
Blackboom. Didn't we just answer that one? Jason Blackboom.
Of all the big names, like what do you? Yeah, JL. That's all that
I don't
matters.
know what I don't know what a big name is. I know names of companies, but definitely don't know the big name. There's a Down for Sound DSP. I think it's brand new, so
It
yeah.
is. It's not out yet. There's
Yeah.
2 on the planet and one's here. But I
Well,
have some photos of it.
I'm definitely down to tune it.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
gonna get one as soon as they show up. I'm gonna have one sent to you.
so pull up John's real quick. John Keynes.
No,
Pull up his comment. So yeah, the problem is, John, is that you have to know it. Max doesn't auto tune anything. It is a tool that allows you to see data. If you don't know what that data is, you're going to be just as lost as if you're a blind squirrel finding a nut. Has absolutely no meaning to you. And I've had that problem. One of my customers, who shall remain nameless, adjusted his tune recently, and he still texts me today saying how great it is. He paid extra for this tune done, by Max, right? He got his Chevy truck fully redone with all JL high-end gear. The install was great, absolutely nothing wrong with the install, but he paid extra for this Max tune, and come to find out it was worse than the factory Bose system. And that's the problem, is a lot of people don't know how to use this equipment. And so that's one of the reasons that I offer the remote login to dealers and people that just own them, because hey, if you don't know how to use it, cool, I'll log in, I'll help you tune it, make good of your investment at least a little bit. Maybe you can learn something while we're there. So I'm not sure what comment he's talking about. I forgot.
you don't need the ribbon piece.
Sure.
The ribbon piece is
Yeah.
for 0.001% of people.
Yeah, the ribbon piece is for 2-channel only.
2-channel left, right. When you have like his car, like Jeff's car, is super great. It's a 2-channel stereo, left and right, and sub, but left and right. So the ribbon gives you a center channel with fanciness.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Jerry, that's one of the main things that I really try to harp on, is that if you don't know how to use it, that's fine. Ask for help. So JL has almost 60 hours, I think, of public videos showing you how to use it. There's no excuse. And okay, great. You're not a video person. You want to have someone teach you? Cool. Go to totaltuningusa.com. You can pay for Total Talk session as long as you want. It's based on $100 an hour. I will sit there and walk you through every single thing that you want for money. That is totally fine with me. If you want me to remote in and tune for you, that's totally fine. We can totally do that. We can totally do a tune. We can do teachings. We can do whatever. I want people to use their maxes. I want people to get good with their maxes, because it's only going to make the industry better. In the meantime, I will make some money doing it, and you will have a better process. You'll have a better tune. So it's a win-win.
Multiple people have maxes in their area. I mean, and that's just, it is what it is. I mean, you'll have that with everything. Like, there's people with term labs all over the world who don't know how to get loud. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't help him, but he's in the Sacramento area.
Sacramento, yeah. No,
yeah, Bobby's the one who doesn't suck. He's the one in the area who doesn't suck.
Yeah, Jerry. If there's anyone that is interested in having me help or having me log in and tune with maxes, I show them exactly how to set up the microphones. I, load in a really, really good curve. It's not the same curve that my Mazda has, but it's a very, very, very good curve. And we go through the whole process. And
What do you mean? We don't get the
like-
Mazda curve?
No, you don't get the Mazda curve.
Wow.
But yeah, basically my point is that anyone that has a Max, I'm logging in for someone in Georgia that has their own Max. One of my previous customers, he literally 3 weeks ago, I did his tune, and he bought his own Max. I've got a customer today. He gave me a deposit for a Max, a total tuning customer. I mean, like, I want everyone to own their own Max. That's great. I don't want to have to send mine out. But, if you don't know how to use it, don't just call it a max tune. Just be like, oh, I've max tuned it. Like, no, you didn't max tune it.
Didn't.
I will tell everyone right now, anyone that's watching this, if you think that the max certification is a joke, try it. It was hard.
Yeah, good luck.
I had to study. I've done hundreds and hundreds of tunes and made hundreds of vehicles sound good, and it was like, oh my God. But the end result is, I mean, I learned a ton. And, the bottom line is, if anyone has that max certification badge right there, max certification, right? Anyone has that max certification badge, or they're on the JL Max Certified Individuals webpage,
They blurred it.
they know something. It is not an easy certification to get.
No, I mean, they failed me the first time. I failed my first test because I didn't do, ironically, an electrical measurement the right way. And now it's like,
Yeah,
all I use.
now that's all you do.
Yeah, I haven't.
But
I ain't doing nothing recently.
No, I have a ton of respect for anyone that is Max certified, because again, Max is a measurement tool. You could do boats. You could do boat installs for a living. You could do home audio for a living. The customer that bought the Max from me today, literally all he does is home audio. He doesn't do cars. So it's a really, really high end tool, and it takes a lot to learn how to use it. So but I encourage everyone to try and get Max certified. Yeah, I mean, you can plug in and you can plug in and try and figure some stuff out, but interpreting that data, it takes a lot. I mean,
well, that's a fact, ain't it?
And I mean, and what's even worse, yeah, it can't be that hard. I did it. But what's even worse is it's not the most complicated measurement software out there. There's all kinds of crazy stuff when you get into the pro audio world, and a lot of that. I like the Max because it's very car audio specific. It does a great job doing exactly what we're looking to optimize in a car, and it puts it all in a very convenient way, I think.
It does. But that's why so many people are trying to recreate like the D-Rack Live stuff they're trying, and they're making it harder on themselves. Like, just Max is so integrated, it works so well. Like, why are you trying to make your life harder?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't.
So Jerry says, why no Max tuning, or why no tweak tuning? I would tune a tweak. It's just I ask people every time, will you tune a tweak? Like, yeah, I will. Is there any way I can get you into a VXI? Well, I don't really want to spend that money. Like, I understand, but I'm just going to tell you there's going to be some optimizations that we'll find when we max tune it. Between 20 and 500 hertz, there's going to be a reason for an all pass filter, and now's your time to upgrade.
Well,
there's going to be a reason for
not if, it's a win.
Yeah, you're going to do the upgrade. So is there any way that I can talk you into doing that upgrade sooner rather than later? You must own or have immediate access. You must have experience with Tune and Max, and you must take the quiz.
Matt out here working.
Audio. Yeah, go to bed, Matt. Yeah, no. Anyone that's interested, you absolutely should, try and get Max certified. It is not easy, but it is definitely worth it. And at the end, you will come out a lot better a tuner, regardless of what companies you like to support.
Boy, tell him about it. The OEM output.
Yeah. So funny enough, Matt actually, I again, Mac certified, but I called Matt today to help, and he talked me through a scenario. We have a Range Rover in the shop. It's being delivered tomorrow morning. 3 VXI amps, all Focal speakers. It's a upmix system. So there's no summing. We went line for line, channel in to VXI, processed, channel out. And so active DSPs work well with, digital interface, not on a stock head unit. That's just a straight source. But when you're talking about like the Range Rover, where it's line for line, or the Escalades, or any of those high-end upmix systems, you feed your own signal in, and then you have to EQ it. It's really, really weird, but it's really cool to think about too. When you're talking about the digital interface on a stock head unit, it's not a big deal. As long as it's a flat signal, you're good to go. The hard part is when your signal isn't flat, and then you have to, try and tune using a weird, OEM crazy upmix system. That's the hard part. So,
What the fuck is
but
that
I figured that
behind
out
you?
today. Talking about me,
Oh,
I guess.
a cabinet?
This thing, this is a cabinet for all my temperature controlled adhesives and paints and stuff, because I keep it inside the house rather than the garage. Where
That's how
it's
you.
about to
That's
be
how you
super
know
cold.
that he be winning install stuff.
So
what's the best way for someone to learn about the SQ world? Get into
best
it.
way is to go to a sound quality car show and get in a couple cars, and then start reading on the internet and find out all the things not to do.
Yep.
There's a lot of misinformation on the internet, and but there's sometimes there's some good information. Just most of the time, I don't find that it's correct. I think that the best way to learn about sound quality is to go go to a car show and see what's winning, see what works, and listen to it and go, why do I think this is working?
That's exactly that's what I do for everything. And then if I happen to find people that I like, and I like the way they're doing stuff, like you, it's like, all right, well, I like the way this guy's doing stuff, and he's nice to me. He's willing to help me for some fucking reason. I'll learn from him.
But yes, come to Aggieland. Steel Valley is another great show. California has a ton of great shows. There is some of the best sounding cars in the nation in California. One of the, we're friends. We're not, fighting or anything, but one of my rivals, he has an amazing sounding Challenger out in California, and generally he beats my car by 1 or 2 points in sound quality. There's a lot to go listen to. You don't have to come to Aggieland, but it is a great show. Guys from Mexico are coming, guys from California are coming. To touch on John Kane's comment, yes, that vehicle will be resurfacing, along with a couple others that have been off the circuit for a few years. Yes, the address for Aggieland is Mobile Toys MTI, so you can just Google Mobile Toys Inc. in College Station and go there. You'll be there at April 6th and 7th. But no, there's tons of great vehicles all around the nation, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to improve with Total Tuning. Is we're trying to get more vehicles sounding good at these local events. There's no reason that you shouldn't have a 75 point mecha car, or a 200 point Iasca car. Basically 75% of the score sheet is very, very easy to get if you have a good tune. Chasing your way up that score sheet, a little bit harder. So Drew knows a little bit about that, tiny bit.
A little bit. I mean, I've been fortunate to have a bunch of awesome people teach me stuff, for sure. I mean, I went from truck just awful, just not good, to 200 plus Iasca every time it competes at this point, for fun.
Yeah.
And like that, that's with bad tuning. Like, I don't even like how it is now. It's just really good. If I didn't mess with things till 1 in the morning and then wait till after the money round to fix them, I might do better. But
I don't even get me on that rant. You should have left it alone. I told you to leave it alone.
I know.
Didn't listen to me.
Trust.
Wanted to be stubborn. Like,
hey, I mean,
literally
it ended up doing good.
No, I did good.
It ended up It'll do
it's
better.
frustrating when you fixed it like after the first or second judge or something like that. That's all.
I fixed it after money round. That's the only time I can touch it. Is there max training close in location? Max certification is only done in Arizona at JL's electronics division. But if you go online, if you go to JL's like YouTube, Facebook, they have hundreds of hours of like training on not just Max but DSP and tuning in general, and it's very, very informative. Is there max tune timing at a show? What? They don't.
Well, the whole hybrid that's the whole hybrid thing is widebands. The idea is that you have less drivers to interact with. So I don't follow that methodology. I don't mind having more drivers to interact with because I plan on tuning it, and I can see all the data that I need to tune. So you can give me 30 speakers. I've tuned vehicles with 30 speakers. It's not a big deal. But the whole wideband thing is just less drivers. It's less drivers, less interaction, less to mess up. What's your guys'
Danny,
opinion
I
on
am
using
sitting in
speakers
front of DDA series right this second at my desk, a 3-way setup running active on a VXI 808. And I've only had car speakers on my desk for a while.
Now, but I'll take the opposite opinion on that, Drew. I'll tell people right now, if you get a really nice set of bookshelves and you set them up right, just plug them in and be done. I mean,
oh yeah, no, they're gonna be great.
I got a brand new set of bookshelves in my living room right now, and they are basically a reference for me at this point from 100 hertz and up. There's no subwoofer in my living room; it's just those two bookshelves. But holy crap! So
Shit's
yeah,
good,
you could absolutely do. Oh, dude, I can't wait for you to hear it. It's freaking stupid. Especially for like just a Sony, preamp thing that I bought from Best Buy that hooks to my TV, and like just these bookshelves, like that's it. It's so
dude,
damn good.
I want to build using the these new Neo Pro 12s from Sundown. I want to build some stuff like Mark has, like the JBL 15s. I want to build some stuff like that for my living room.
Yeah. For the living room, I think that might be a little excessive. I think living rooms are better for close field monitor type situations.
I mean, realistically, like just these tweeters and these threes, and put them in the living room, just on a little Dayton amp, little 4-channel GSP amp, dude. It sounds great. I mean, obviously, there's not a ton of low
in your truck yet?
I haven't built pillars yet. Has MTI built me pillars yet?
Oh, whatever. Look, you need to put them tweeters in your truck. I'm telling you. Before Aggieland, those tweeters need to be in your truck.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna have all new pillars in the truck.
Yeah.
What? Put these DD tweeters in there?
Nah, you know which tweeters I'm talking about.
Oh, I know. They're right here. Well,
yeah,
they're in the shop. Well, one's right here. But well, shoot, dude.
So,
I guess what's that?
Oh no, I was just gonna say for anyone that's still watching, I literally sent Drew some of the best tweeters probably ever built, like a top 10 tweeter ever built. And you can ask him how much I charged him for it. Total of 0. And he still hasn't installed them.
Like I said, how many times have I tried to get pillars done? Because they won't fit my current pillars.
No, they're definitely beefy tweeters. But no, you need to get those things installed for Aggieland. I'm telling you.
I think there's some of that magic in these DD tweeters. I'm telling you, dude, they're so good. Like, they're just as deep.
Bring the bookshelves, and then we can compare them to the Focal bookshelves. Bring whatever there's a good thing. Bring whatever you want. Let's compare them to my Focal bookshelves.
Say less, bud. I'm bringing custom made 3-way ZR800s, C7 3.5s, scan tweeters. I'm coming for you, cheeks. What tweets?
So they're ScanSpeak tweeters. They're not made anymore, but if enough people want to, Scan has made a run. Problem is, we got to order 100 tweeters. So if 50 of y'all want to get together, we can make something happen. We can
and
make
buy some
another
really
run happen.
expensive fucking tweeters.
We can make another run happen, and then there's another fresh 100 pairs floating around, you know, for another 10 years, and then they'll slowly die off as people break them or lose them or drop off the face of the earth or whatever. But yeah, I would love to get together with 50 other people and do a buy-in and revive that line of tweeters again. So
Oh yeah, that'd be fire.
But
Dude, did I pop
yeah,
all this up? I think I did.
But yeah, no, that's all that I got. If anyone has questions about tuning stuff, just give me a holler. But beyond that, learn Max, get certified, go enjoy sound
$2,500
for
what?
No, they're not 2,500.
No,
they weren't that expensive. I want to say they were what 300, 400 a pair
when they were
maybe
new,
a little bit more.
Oh,
Yeah.
the price to do something, or
yeah, just to run another set.
Yeah, I want to say what
it was like.
I think I've heard that price, but it might have been from you. How much? Like $300-$400?
It's not an insane amount, but the problem is they won't make one pair. You have to buy an entire, like, make it worth our while, and we'll run it one more time. And so, like, we got to have enough people. Yeah, we got to have enough people that want to buy in. So.
He said a pair. I've heard some wild high shit. I mean, like, we've seen more expensive. Yeah, I mean, like, we've seen more expensive speakers.
Yeah.
Apparently, ESB is supposed to be sending me some fucking crazy shit.
Yeah. No, I hope that one day we can run another set. Like, we need more sets of ZR800s on the market. We need more sets of Scan tweeters on the market.
We have ZR800s. They're called TM8s.
Yeah, but they ain't ZR800s.
So, like, you know, I was always a little doubtful, right? Man, this ZR800s look like a subwoofer, dude.
Oh, hey, I know that person.
I know that person too. Well, we in trouble now. That's what it is.
We in big trouble.
we in trouble.
We about to get all of our jail stuff just taken away.
Hey, not me. Not me.
But I mean, yeah, no, they're so let me rant on that real quick. The ZR800 came out before its time.
Yep.
Like, no car had an 8-inch, a 6x9 or an 8-inch mid base, and now every car has an 8-inch mid base. Guess what? Every car has right now is a 6x9 or an 8-inch mid base, and every car has a 2.5-inch mid range in the dash. We need more of those. We need a really nice 6x9. We need a really nice 8. We need a really nice 2.5. We need these drop-in really nice speakers. So rant over. For anyone that may be listening that has power to get nice speakers, that's what we need. 2.5s, 6x9s, ZR 6x9. Yep. Anything that's a 2.5, it needs to be a 2.5 mid range, and it needs to be a 6x9 or an 8-inch driver, because they will fit in Chevys, Toyotas, Fords, Dodges, all the same. All of them, same thing.
So I don't. Which Matrix? I don't know Matrix. That brand.
Matrix is the Brax stuff.
Oh, okay. I don't. Yeah, I've never heard them.
Really nice stuff. Really nice stuff.
I haven't heard the Sky High Neos, but they're more of a loud speaker. I mean, I'm sure they sound fine, but what we're talking about right now is like hyper specific for sound quality, and like I know Sky High just came out with an 8-inch mid bass, but it's not really mid bass, you know what I mean?
And I think right now publicly, I unfortunately I admitted it the other day to a friend that asked me this question. I personally think that the Stereo Integrity TM8 is probably one of the better, least expensive 8s currently manufactured on the market. I still have an affinity for JLZRs. I will literally pull a pair down right now. I have four
so he can
pairs
send me some
in my
fancy
closet.
tweeters, but can't send me one. Pop that thing open,
I have
bro. Let him see.
4 pairs of these in my closet right now.
Let
Most people don't even know where to get them, and I have 4 pairs in my closet because
I found one brand new for $100 bill last year.
Like,
look
at that thing. That is super, super nice. And it sounds super nice too. But yeah, we need more of this. And right now, I think the Stereo Integrity 8 is currently one of the better the better 8-inch drivers manufactured for not super expensive. There's some really good 8-inch drivers. Like I know Blam makes some 8-inch drivers. I know Matrix makes 8-inch drivers. Focal Utopias make 8-inch drivers. But they're the part that's infuriating. This was what, $330 retail? I think is right before it was discontinued. $330. Yeah.
Well, they more than that now.
Yeah, but still, I'm just saying. So, yeah, no, we need more badass 8-inch drivers. We need more badass 6x9 drivers, and we need more badass 2.5 drivers. Period. We have 3.5s. We've got tweeters. We've got 6.5s.
Even so, at this point, I've heard a bunch of speakers. Obviously, we've all heard a bunch of speakers. I can't get over the C7 3.5, dude. I just can't.
No, it's fantastic.
How is it so good?
But the problem is, it doesn't fit in anything. You have to make custom pillars. If they had a C7, or another line that is not C7, let's just say, and it was a 2.5 and it dropped into everything, money. Just write the check.
It's just. I've heard so many. They're just so good.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic.
2.75? Yes.
Yeah, 2.75.
Or the C7 tweeter, but a little different. Fire.
But the problem is, here's the problem. So like all those vehicles that I just mentioned, the Chevys, the Fords, the Rams, and the Tundras. The Rams and the Tundras, the grills don't fit if you have an adapter underneath them. The Chevys, you have to cut the crap out of the dash in order to fit something bigger. And the Fords, if it's a F-150, you have to cut the crap out of the dash. If it's a Super Duty, you don't. But all of them are less than a 3-inch driver. The Focal Flax is a 3-inch driver, and it's a neo magnet, so it's a super thin mounting depth, and I still have to cut to install any of those. So if we had a smaller driver, diameter and mounting depth, it would fly off the shelves. Absolutely fly off the shelves. So, I mean,
you say put B2 components.
I made one the other day. I actually made one in a GMC Ultimate the other day. I did a Focal 6x9 component from the Universal line. It's like their mid-level, like C2 level line. So it was a Focal Universal 6x9 component, and I did a Morel 2-inch driver in a GMC Ultimate. So I took a Morel Dome mid-range and I paired it with a Focal 6x9 component to make a 3-way. And all I want is the company to give me a decent 2-way or 3-way in that size profile. That's it. It would fit in every single truck in America.
Sounded good?
So.
It sounded good?
Oh, it sounded great. Yeah. Yeah. The biggest thing with the Dome mid-range, you have to cross it a little higher. You got to cross it like 800-ish, 700, somewhere in there.
I haven't got to hear Dome mid-range yet. How unfortunate.
They sound good. I don't have any issues. Manville's mad at me now.
He said, Kicker Snowman. I mean, the Snowman is a great product for getting the tweeter and 3 up on the dash, like where it needs to be. I mean, the ones I've heard sounded pretty, but you know, in the end, you're going to want to go active, and then so you need a dedicated mid bass. I don't think it has a mid bass, so
Yeah.
I should start 3D
no,
printing JL specific for C7s and C tweeters and mount on dashboards.
Yeah, no, it would probably be popular. I'm not a fan of the snowman type situations because I think that there's issues with that. But it's better than nothing. It's better than
I
having
mean,
a
it's
two-way.
it's definitely not. It's suboptimal, but it's better than
Yeah.
you know than having your tweeters down low.
If you want to learn more about why it's not optimal, go to a Mark Eldridge class. But yeah, no, the snowman thing. I mean, it's better than not. So
So
yeah,
he mentions the
speakerpods.com.
speaker pods. I actually so Todd was in here earlier. He had that Trailblazer that I was sending pictures of that had the speaker pods mounted to the pillars and the TM8s to the outside of the door. Mid bass wasn't the greatest, but that's just an install thing.
Yeah.
Not sure. It ended up sounding pretty decent. I was quite happy with it. But I'm gonna hop off here, dude. I haven't eaten yet, so I'll talk to you one day, man. In like 30 seconds.
Yep, 30 seconds.
All right, everybody. If you're still here and you have engine noise, just go buy a jail amp with GSP in it. Stop it. Come on. Do better.
All right.
Later.